to present her deliberation on the topic Emerging Trends in Genomic DNA Isolation Methods. So may we have P. Ramalakshmi. Do we have P. Ramalakshmi for the presentation? Okay, then can we have the next participant to present the work, Meenakshi Soni?
Yes, ma'am, I present here.
Okay, fine. Meenakshi, welcome here. The topic of Meenakshi is effects of vitamin C against Day-2 ethylene hexyl phthalate toxicity on some biochemical and fertility parameters in Swiss albino mice. Welcome.
Yeah, ma'am.
And all the best, Meenakshi.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Ma'am, is it visible? Hello?
Yes, visible.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, all research delegates. I'm Meenakshi Soni from Barkatullah University.
Meenakshi, we are unable to hear you.
Hello, ma'am, may I?
Yes, now you are audible.
Okay, ma'am, okay. So should I start, ma'am? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning, all research delegates. I'm Meenakshi Soni from Barkatullah University. I'm pursuing my doctoral degree under the supervision of Professor Vinoy Kumar Srivastava. And here today's research seminar topic, my research seminar topic is effects of vitamin C against Day-2 hexyl phthalate toxicity on some biochemical and fertility parameters in Swiss albino mice. So first of all, I introduced well introduced to my topic, and you can see here I have used this chemical Day-2 hexyl phthalate, that is DEHP. So we all have heard about the different ages since ancient times like Ice Age, Stone Age, Iron Age, Copper Age, and so on. If I am not exaggerating, it will be appropriate to call today's age as plastic age. Yes, we all know how the plastic is harmful for us and for our environment too. But yet, it seems impossible to live plastic-free life. We are very much habituated to the plastic. So what is the relation between this plastic and DEHP? Actually, this DEHP is one of the most used phthalates as in the plastics as a plasticizer. It is added in the plastics for imparting the softness and flexibility to the plastics. You can see it is a everywhere found contaminant because it is added in the plastic which we use in the form of PVC plastics, soft chewing toys, then household materials, then after the personal care products, cosmetics, and of course the food packaging, air fresheners, perfumes, etc. So here I should mention the Day-2 hexyl phthalate has actually performing the various roles, and that is why it is mandatory to add that in the plastics. How hard and how extensively we are exposed to this DEHP, this can be understood by two facts. First is that the annual global production of this DEHP is estimated to be more than 2 million tons. And secondly, many researchers already confirmed their presence deep within us. So actually, what is the problem with this DEHP? It is not chemically bonded to the plastics in which it is added, and it very easily leaches out either due to heating or prolonged storage, etc. And it makes very easy entry to our bodies. You can see its average daily intake is 3 to 30 microgram per kg per day. But here I want to mention it becomes more higher if we take the occupational exposure level, and it reaches 300 to 600 microgram per kg per day. And even in the medical patients which undergo some medical procedures like dialysis, etc., due to the extensive use of those medical devices, of course the soft plastic medical devices, the DEHP makes more entry and their level is much higher. I want to mention here, many of the researchers from the globe already have confirmed DEHP presence in our human blood, in the blood, urine, the breast milk, and of course in the follicular fluid and oocytes. That means our next generation too, means our oocyte and fetus is directly affected by this evil chemical. So, again, here I want to show the nature of the DEHP. Okay, so the DEHP is identified as endocrine disruption chemical. It is associated with some defects of liver, respiratory system, asthma, allergies. Its carcinogenic nature is already well established. The main focus of DEHP toxicity is on reproductive systems of male and female because of its anti-androgenic nature. So I'm coming to my experimental design. I should start with my materials and method. Here, the investigation deals with the effect of DEHP on the serum metabolites, means the biochemical parameters, and the reproductive physiology. The experiment is of 30 days, where I use the young female mice, mus musculus. Why the young female mice? Here I want to mention that the young females are actually more prone to this toxicity of exposure of DEHP because of their extensive use of cosmetics and personal care products. So the main chemical under the investigation is DEHP, which is a plasticizer. It is a hydrophobic or lipophilic in nature. That is why I dissolved it in a vehicle using corn oil. Then I come to the vitamin C, which I have used as antidote for seeing the possible therapeutic role of this vitamin C against the DEHP. So I want to clear here why I have chosen vitamin C. Why I made vitamin C as a choice of the solution. The reason behind it is vitamin C is a very popular, common, and excellent antioxidant since ages. In the present scenario of COVID-19 pandemic, it got much more attention than never before. We all know it for boosting our immune system, and its role in fertility is also very well known since ages. So if I talk about doses, DEHP in the 100 mg per kg body weight, and vitamin C also is taken in the same dose for the 30 days. Animals, mus musculus is used around 16 to 24 gram, as it is a young female mice. I can mention it very well in this tabulated form. Actually, I have divided the animals into the 4 groups, each group containing the 6 animals. The first group is a control group. This group is treated with normal diet along with the corn oil, which I have used in the DEHP treated group as a vehicle. Second group is DEHP treated group. 100 mg per kg body weight of DEHP dissolved in corn oil was given to animal of these groups. Third is the vitamin C treated group. Vitamin C is dissolved in double distilled water, and in the dose of 100 mg per kg it is given. And the last group, which is the DEHP plus vitamin C, this group animals were treated with both DEHP 100 mg per kg body weight dose, and vitamin C again dissolved in the distilled water. It is also in the 100 mg per kg body weight of the vitamin C. So I'm coming to the next. What are the objectives of my research study? Actually, here I want to mention, due to the anti-androgenic nature of this chemical DEHP, the more focus is on the reproductive physiologies. Okay, it is also already known as the reproductive toxicant, but now it is found that it exerts some adverse pressure on the metabolic physiology also. So here, actually, I want to relate these metabolic abnormalities with the fertility. It is found that it affects the glucose and lipid metabolism adversely. Due to the lipid metabolism disturbance, it causes the dyslipidemia, which causes, sorry, if it results in the obesity, and finally it is somewhere related to the fertility. So I want to actually my focus is to relate these two things, metabolic disturbances along with the reproductive physiology. So my main objectives are to analyze the adverse impact of the di-2 ethyl hexyl phthalate, and see if there are some positive aspects of the vitamin C against this DEHP toxicity, considering the biochemical parameters, basically the glucose and total cholesterol. Secondly, I want to what are the what are the abnormalities caused by the DEHP, especially in the body weight and GSI. GSI is actually the ratio of gonad weight, female gonad. Here I'm taking ovaries. So GSI is the ratio between the ovaries weight to the whole body weight. And third, to find the variation in the female reproductive pattern. That means I want to find is there some problems or changes in the fertility rate. So here are my results. And first I'm starting with my result of the GSI. Here it is a DHP treated group. You can see there is a much significant decrease in the GSI, means the gonad, the female gonadal weight, ovaries weight are very much decreased in volume and weight. And if I take the case of the DHP plus vitamin C treated group, I find here the improvement. Similarly, I want to show the body weight results due to, as I mentioned earlier, the body weight is increased due to the changes in the lipid metabolism. And vitamin C, of course, has some improvement, because you can see it is lesser than this DEHP treated group, but it is somewhat nearly the control treated group. Next, the biochemical parameters, glucose level. The glucose level is much increased in the DEHP treated group. Of course, it is creating the glucose tolerance or the insulin resistance by affecting the metabolism in a adverse manner. Here, see the DEHP plus vitamin C treated group, it is giving us some promising positive role. Okay. Next is the total cholesterol level. See how much total cholesterol is decreased in this DEHP treated group as compared to this control group. Okay, I want to mention here, you can see here is a change, means decrease in the total cholesterol. But if you can compare this with body weight, you are seeing the contradictory result. Body weight is actually increased. So I want to mention here, only total cholesterol is not responsible for the gaining of body weight. Actually, there is a complete lipid profile, which includes the triglycerides, LDL, VLDL, HDL, etc. So there is some changes in those parameters also, but I mentioned here only the total cholesterol level. So the total cholesterol level is decreased in DEHP treated group, but I find improvement in the DEHP plus vitamin C treated group. Now I come to the last, the effect of DEHP and DHP vitamin C exposure on the fertility rate. As I mentioned earlier, the metabolic abnormalities, I'm going to relate it with the fertility parameters. I have taken the fertility parameter in consideration are the gestation period, average number of litter born, sex ratio, postnatal viability, and the fertility index. I observed in the DEHP treated group, all these parameters are affected significantly. I found the average number of litter born were less. Sex ratio is also disturbed due to the anti-androgenic nature of this DEHP chemical. And of course, the postnatal viability is also affected. The death rate was very common in pups, and the fertility index definitely is affected. And vitamin C, as I expected, it is giving us again the improvement in these particular parameters if we observe in the DEHP plus vitamin C treated. All my results are actually statistically analyzed with the help of one-way ANOVA, and I used here the software GraphPad Prism. And finally, I can conclude the results of my investigation. that the treatment of the mice with vitamin C, it indicates an overall positive effect on the various parameters, the biochemical parameters and the fertility rate parameter taken into consideration. And so it is very much evident that the administration of vitamin C can be helpful for reversal of the DEHP toxicity. So here are some references I quoted, and of course, thank you for providing me this very good platform. Thanks a lot.
Any questions? Okay, we will move to next presenter, Pooja Bhatt, and her topic is importance and use of Hencha fibers as sustainable fiber in textile industry. Pooja Bhatt. Pooja, are you there for presentation? Okay. Next is Sarita Dubey. Isolation of bioactive compounds from Cyanobacterium nostoc muscorum.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am. Are you audible me?
Okay, welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I requesting you now. Please give me a 20 minutes only. Actually, ma'am, in this time, network is so disconnected. So, ma'am, please give me a 30-minute, ma'am. I'm requesting you, ma'am. Please.
I'm afraid it's not possible.
Ma'am, I will explain definitely, but right places.
I think you may present now.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Sarita,
Yes, ma'am.
are you ready? No?
No, ma'am. In this time, I'm not comfortable because network not proper here. Ma'am, after 30 minutes, definitely I will explain, ma'am. So please give me a 30-minute only. Ma'am, I'm
Okay. If possible, we will call you. Okay. We are moving to next participant. Then Naresh Kumar Harsh. Are you there? Naresh Kumar Harsh. Naresh? Runa Paul?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Welcome, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, is it visible?
Yes. All the best, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Runa Paul, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, St. Aloysius College, Jabalpur. Today's my topic is effect of aqueous leaf extract of Philanthus emblica on respiratory burst activity, which has been detected by NBT assay of Claris batrachus fish. Introduction. Fish is an important source of animal protein in our diet. It contains all essential vitamins, minerals, and trace elements in the appropriate amount. Fish production can be enhanced by good practices in aquaculture. Enhancing fish yield was essential to supplement the protein food needs of this country. India produced 108 million tons of fish in 2016, the third highest in the world after China and Indonesia. According to FAO, India's share in global production of fish in is 7%, second to China in 2018. To improve the yield of fish and culture, it is necessary to enhance the immune potency of the fishes, and any effort at enhancing this would be an important contribution to the food production in the country. As my topic is respiratory burst activity, we should know what cell do the respiratory burst activity and what is respiratory burst activity. The respiratory burst activity is done by the phagocytic cell, such as neutrophil and eosinophil, granulocyte and monocyte macrophages are cell. They are born to kill the microbes. The metabolic process by which these cells perform function is all so-called or oxidative.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. You are not audible.
Sorry, ma'am. As I'm continuing. What cell do the respiratory burst? These are the phagocytic cells such as neutrophil and eosinophil, granulocyte and monocyte macrophages, and they are born to kill the microbes. The metabolic process by which these cells perform this function is known as respiratory or oxidative burst. Respiratory burst is an essential component of innate immunity, enabling the phagocytic cell to eliminate the microbes. What is phagocytosis? Phagocytosis is an innate defense mechanism is ingestion of extracellular particles, and it is conducted by specialized cell. As I told you, they are the monocyte, neutrophils, and macrophages. And this is the monocyte. You can see these are the monocyte which I have seen in the Clarius batrachus fishes, and this is the neutrophil, and these are the macrophages. Now, the principle of respiratory burst of neutrophil. Leukocyte respiratory burst activity as an indicator of innate immunity was first observed in mammals in the year 1930s. Respiratory bursts, they are also known as oxidative bursts, is a rapid release of reactive oxygen species, or you can say superoxide anion and hydrogen peroxide from different types of cell. Usually, it denotes the release of these chemicals from immune cells, such as neutrophils and macrophages, because they are infected by the different fungi or bacteria. They are also released from the ovum of higher animals after the ovum has been fertilized, and these substances can also be released from the plant cell. Now, to combat the infection, you can see these are the bacteria and they're the phagocytic cell. We use so the NADPH oxidase. You can the NADPH oxidase is an enzyme family widely expressed in many types of cell. They produces superoxide, which spontaneously recombine with the other molecules to produce the reactive free radicals. And see, this is oxygen. You can see the oxygen superoxide and to an oxygen free radicals, and then H2O2. The neutrophil and monocyte, they use this enzyme, that is myeloperoxidase, and they further combine. You can see H2O2, they combined with Cl minus, that is to produce the hypochlorite, or we can say hypochlorous acid, which play an important role in destroying the bacteria. So during the phagocytosis, there is a production of reactive oxygen species and constituent production of free radicals. And these compounds lead to the formation of potent bactericide to combat the microorganism. So respiratory burst activity plays an important role in immune system. It is a crucial reaction that occurs in phagocyte to degrade the internalized particles and bacteria. Impairment in the functioning of the respiratory burst causes the high infection rates or tissue damage and leads to the clinical complication. And how we can measure this respiratory burst activity? For this, we have used nitroblue-tetrazoleum assay, and they are used in a diagnostic test, particularly for the chronic granulomatous disease and other disease of phagocyte function, where there is an NADPH oxidase defect, when the phagocyte is unable to make reactive oxygen species or radical required for the bacterial killing. As a result, bacteria may thrive within the phagocyte. So this type of disease is caused in human, and in animals also the phagocyte defective in phagocytes, that is they are unable to kill the bacteria. So the application of NBT assay. The NBT assay test has been proved to be valuable for screening patient or carriers with the chronic granulomatous disease of childhood. It is one of the useful tests in studying the neutrophil dysfunction also. The nitroblue tetrazoleum test is quickly assuming importance as a method of diagnosing bacteria infection and of investigating phagocytic defects. The nitroblue tetrazoleum slide test and spectrophotometric method has been applied widely to help in the diagnosis of the bacterial infection. In my experiment, I have done this nitroblue tetrazolium through spectrophotometric method. Nitroblue tetrazolium assay. This is the protocol I have used. This is described by Anderson and Savicki and Biller Takahashi et al. In 2013 with some modification. They are based upon the principle that a respiratory burst is brought about wherever a foreign particle is ingested by a phagocyte. In this assay was evaluated to measure the neutrophil function, and this is based on ability of neutrophil to reduce the yellow color soluble NBT dye to insoluble blue colored formazine by the production of oxygen radical. Now, this is pre-experimental. Before the experiment, the Clarius batrachus fishes of mixed sexes weighing about 80 to 120 grams was used for the study, which was purchased from the local fishermen in Jabalpur, kept in zoology lab of St. Aloysius College, and they have been acclimatized to the laboratory condition for 15 days. Now, the experimental diet I have prepared through this Philanthus emblica leaf. This is a model of the fish. That's the Clarius batrachus. Soxhlet I have used to prepare the extract, and this is the concentration which I have mixed with the diet. That is concentration of 2% of Philanthus emblica leaf and concentration of 5% of Philanthus emblica leaf. And the blood has been collected through the caudal vein of the fish. Now, the experimental design, you see the preparation of the dose has been done through the crude extract of Philanthus emblica leaf, which has been incorporated in the fish diet. A number of experimental fish was used as 63, and it has been performed for 7, 15, and 30 days. And the treatment, we have divided the fish in 3 groups. One was a control, that was group 1, and another was group 2, and another was group 3. In control, we have not added the Philanthus emblica feed in the diet, but in group 2, we have added 2% of Philanthus emblica feed in the fish diet, and in group 3 we have added 5% of Philanthus emblica feed in the fish diet. The main objective was of the research works to determine the effect of the different experimental diet which was prepared from the Philanthus emblica leaf on. We have to see the respiratory burst activity through the NBT assay of the Clarius batrachus fish. Now, the protocol of the NBT assay. 100 ml of the heparinized blood was collected from each group of control and experimental fishes, and each test tube marked as a test and a control. And to 100 ml of heparinized blood, 100 ml of 0.2% NBT solution was added within 15 minutes. The NBT solution was prepared by adding 200 mg of NBT powder and 100 ml of double distilled water, and then the resultant solution was then incubated for 30 minutes at a room temperature. After the incubation, 1 ml of N-dimethyl amide was added to the 50 ml of the resultant solution in a sterilized glass tube or Eppendorf, and mixing of the resultant solution was done thoroughly and was centrifuged in a cooling centrifuge at 12,000 rpm for 5 minutes. The OD of supernatant solution was determined on spectrophotometer at 540 nanometer. The reagent blank was prepared by our procedure, except in the place of blood we have used distilled water was added. Now, these are the reagent, and this is the result. We can see the color. Now, the result, we can see the NBT assay of the Clarius batrachus in different doses of Philanthus emblica leaf extract after 7 days, 15 days, and 30 days. And NBT assay at 540 nanometer in this group 1 control, 0%, group 2, 2% feed we have added, and group 3, the 5% feed we have added. Now, the nitroblue tetrazolium assay measured the oxygen radical production by blood phagocyte during the respiratory burst activity, and increase in OD denotes an increase in phagocytic activity. In the present investigation, the fishes were treated with the leaf extract. The mean value of OD was, we can see this is 0.260, and this is the, we can say plus minus, we have used the SD, and we can see after this, it was in control fish after 7 days, and which has been reaches to 0.285 at the 2% of the feed, that is after 30 days. But in the case of 5% feed, the experimental value has risen up to 0.302, that is in 15 days, but it fall to 0.294 at 30 days. And the application of two-way ANOVA revealed that the significant differences of value of OD were obtained due to the differences in dose concentration. And this is the graph. A result and conclusion, it was found that the phagocytic activity assessed by the NBT assay was enhanced by Philanthus emblica leaf extract at different doses. Okay, not in duration, it was in different doses, increasing the phagocytic activity. Thus, it can be concluded that the extract of Philanthus emblica leaf have been found to enhance the immune capacity and can be used as an effective immunomodulators when added to fish feed at the recommended doses and time period. This will contribute much to improve the yield of Claris batrachus fishes in culture. Thus, beneficial effects are due to the presence of phytochemical components such as which has been found in the leaf of the Philanthus amblica, such as phenol, flavonoids, reducing sugars, saponin, glycoside, carbohydrate. Now, the acknowledgement part, I'm thankful to our principal, Reverend Dr. Valin Narasu, St. Aloysius College, Jabalpur, for lab facilities, and also thanks to my guide, Dr. Asha Khanna, ex-professor, Department of Zoology and Biotechnology, Government Model Science College, Jabalpur, and Dr. Rita Bhandari, professor and head, Department of Zoology, Government OFK Degree College, Khamaria. And these are the references. Thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Audience, any questions? Thank you. Next presenter is Vaishali Kadve. The topic is sustainable development of agriculture using machine learning.
Madam, am I audible?
Yes. Welcome, Vaishali.
Thank you. I am presenting.
You are presenting now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Welcome, all the best.
Thank you, madam. Madam, my screen is visible. Hello.
Yes.
Madam.
Yes, it is visible. Visible. Continue.
Okay, thank you, madam. Very good morning to everyone. I am grateful to Career College Bhopal, RFI and ICT for giving me an opportunity for presenting research paper in international conference on advanced research strategies for sustainable development. I am Vaishali Kadve from Sri Sathya Sai College from Women Bhopal. My guide is Dr. Sanjeev Gaur from Career College Bhopal. My research area is sustainable development in agriculture using machine learning. As a large amount of data is generated in various fields like agriculture, medical, insurance, industries, healthcare, stock market, and etc. Machine learning techniques are applied to analyze large amount of data. The pattern, trends are identified and knowledge is extracted, which is useful in decision making. Implementation of machine learning in agriculture improves quality and increase the quantity of crop production. This paper studies various techniques of machine learning and its application in agriculture field. Machine learning is the application of artificial intelligence which strengthens the program from experience and improves their self without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning methods are classified into following categories: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. In supervised learning, we have to provide sample level data in order to train machine. Supervised learning can be classified into classification and regression. Classification are used when the output variable are categorical like true, false, yes, no, male, female. Some classification algorithms are random forest, logistic regression, decision tree, support vector machine. Regression algorithms are used for prediction purpose when there is continuous variable and relationship exists between output and input variables. Regression algorithms are linear regression, regression tree, Bayesian regression, non-linear regression, and polynomial regression. In unsupervised learning, the data provided to machine for training has not been labeled. It restructures the input data into group of objects and with similar pattern. Unsupervised learning can be classified into two categories, clustering and association rule. Method of grouping similar objects into same group is known as clustering. Some commonly used clustering algorithms are density-based, k-nearest neighborhood, hierarchical clustering, k-means clustering, neural network. Association rules are find interesting relationship among the variables with large data set. The aim of algorithm is to find the dependency of variable on another variable and map both variables according to generate maximum output. Some popular algorithm of association rules are ECLAD, FP growth, a priori. Reinforcement learning is based on the feedback. This learning method, a learning agent gets penalty for each wrong action and reward for right action. The agent improves its performance learning automatically from feedback. The agent interacts with the environment and explores it by getting reward points and improve its performance. Reinforcement learning is classified into two categories, positive reinforcement learning and negative reinforcement learning. Application of reinforcement learning are video games, resource management, robotics, and text mining. Machine learning techniques are used in agriculture for monitoring crops, detecting various diseases of plants, developing smart irrigation system, suggesting the crop for plantation according to the soil type and climatic conditions, suggesting proper time for harvesting, predicting the crop yield, and supply chain management. Technique used for analysis of crop production. According to the study of recent research, it is found that 74% classification, 15% clustering, 7% association rule, and 4% time series are used for analysis purpose. The technique used for prediction of crop production, it is found that 27% multiple linear regression, 34% random forest regression, 9% support vector regression, and greedy based regression and multivariate adaptive regression scheme are used for prediction of crop yield production. Among those, the random forest regressor is used maximum. Various classification techniques used for data analysis, it is found that 25% decision tree, 15% KNN, random forest algorithm are used, 10% support vector machine and neural networks, 9% Navy based, 5% gradient based decision tree, required greedy forest, and C4.5 and ID3 are used for agriculture data analysis purpose. Among the above algorithms, decision tree being used maximum. In India, crop production depends on various factors such as soil type, pH value, moisture, temperature, and nutrients. Environmental parameters like temperature, rainfall, climate parameters like sunshine hours, precipitation, humidity, and cloud cover. Agronomic parameters like pesticide, fertilizer, area under irrigation, period of harvesting, and area harvesting. According to the analysis, it is found that the parameters such as soil, temperature, rainfall, area, sunshine hours are maximum number of time considered for predicting crop yield. Conclusion, in agriculture, as agriculture is a primary source of food and plays major role for Indian economy and employment. To fulfill the increasing food requirement as well as accelerating economic growth of the country, it is necessary to improve crop production by doing precision agriculture. Sustainable agriculture focuses on reducing harmful environmental impact, enhancing agriculture productivity. Machine learning is one of the base techniques which provide many methods to predict and analyze agriculture data. According to the recent research study, it is found that 74% classification techniques are used for agricultural data analysis. Among them, decision tree is most preferred. Random forest regressor is used maximum number of times for prediction purpose. Clustering technique can be used in future for analysis of agricultural data. Challenges and future scope: adopt more accurate and high performance method for analysis and prediction purpose. Sensor can be used for data collection in remote area in order to get more accurate results. Made user-friendly model by adding more features for prediction. This design powerful association rule with more number of parameters. These are the references. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Vaishali.
Welcome, madam.
Next participant, Ajay Badyal. Are you there? Ajay Badyal. Okay, next is Seema Shrotia. Next is Richa Singh. Are you there, Richa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're presenting now, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. A very hearty good morning to all. Today, I, Richa Singh, presenting my paper on the topic therapeutic behavior of some transition metal complexes derived from sulfathiazole, a review. My supervisor is Dr. Bhartijan ma'am and co-supervisor is Dr. Achana Singh. Here the abstract is, as we know in medicinal chemistry, the sulfur-based moieties, sulfonamide-based analogs are interesting research topics. Sulfur drugs, particularly if we talk about sulfathiazole, it exhibits a diverse set of pharmacological properties. Many researchers have been drawn to them because of the breadth of their therapeutic activity. The sulfathiazole gave rise to many metals and their complexes. Here in the review article, we focus basically on the sulfonamide-based transition metal complexes for a variety of applications, including the antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antifungal properties. The biological activities of the transition metal complexes with sulfathiazole were tested using gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, and certain fungal agents. Here, the finding shows that the metal complexes derived from sulfathiazole have significantly higher biological activity than the parent ligand. Here comes the introduction. The sulfur drugs, also called as sulfonamides, the first effective antibacterial agents to be produced in a pharmaceutical laboratory. It also the first chemical substance systematically used to treat and prevent bacterial infections in humans. The sulfur drugs are bacteriostatics. It means that they inhibit or they stop the growth and multiplication of bacteria, but they do not kill them. The organic compounds with a ring structure that contain sulfur, nitrogen, oxygen as heteroatom have been shown to be effective bioactive agents. The sulfur drugs, specifically sulfathiazole, the most effective bioactive agent for bacterial infection and prevention and treatment. Prior to the availability and application of antibiotics for the control of diseases, the sulfonamides were employed as effective chemotherapeutic agents for the prevention and cure of the bacterial infections in humans. Now, the specifically sulfur drug is sulfathiazole. It's one of the family member of sulfonamides, as I discussed earlier, that used for short-acting antibiotics. Formerly, it was common oral and topical antibacterial such as sulfathiazole ointment that was used in treatment of pyogenic dermatosis. Sulfathiazole is still used sometimes in combination with sulfabenzamide and sulfacetamide and in aquariums too. The research in this area have to face the double challenges in designing new antimicrobial agents that have minimal side effects on one side and high potency on other side, taking in mind the increased microbial resistance. Here comes the transition metal complexes. Important point. The transition metal complexes are the element that have incomplete d subshells. For example, cobalt, manganese, iron 2 oxidation state, iron 3 oxidation state, etc. And due to their instability in structure, they have variable oxidation number as well as unstable electronic configuration. The transition metal complexes or the transition metals have important place in the medicinal biochemistry. The property of most TMs to form coordination complexes with neutral or anionic ligands and exhibit multiple oxidation state makes them suitable for use in drugs. The metal complexes are prominently known to accelerate the drug actions. The complex formation between the metal ions and the sulfur drugs, for example, sulfathiazole, has also been extensively studied with a view to establish a relation and importance between the drug metal drug interaction. Here in this review paper, the antimicrobial activities of the certain metal sulfathiazole complexes are described. This is the structure of sulfonamide as well as sulfathiazole, having sulfur and nitrogen in the ring. Now, the review is as follows. The antimicrobial activity. First, Ifyani and Utokere et al. Reported the new shift bases and the metal complexes taken as nickel that was synthesized using benzaldehyde and sulfathiazole, whereas characterization method has been used that are in elemental analysis, UV visible spectrometer, FTIR, 1H NMR, and 13C NMR spectroscopy. The antibacterial sensitivity of the reagents has been tested in vitro against Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Salmonella typhi. Here, the nickel complexes was shown to be more effective against the bacterial strains than the shift bases. And when compared to the shift base alone, the complex shows improved antibacterial activity. Anacona et al. Synthesized metal coordination complex of a cephalexin base derived from the condensation of cephalexin antibiotics with sulfathiazole, where the characterization was done by elemental and thermal analysis, molar conductance and magnetic susceptibility measurements, electronic EPR, 1H NMR spectral studies. The biological activities again were tested and found that the shift-based complexes were also found to be better than those of the free ligands. Sameer T. Gaballa et al. Synthesized the number of novel sulfathiazole complexes. Again, the characterization and the synthesis process has been done by 1H NMR, 13C, 2D 1H NMR, mass spectroscopy, and microanalysis all validated the structure of the produced compound. Here, the antimicrobial activity of the produced compound was tested against gram-positive as well as gram-negative bacteria, as well as fungal strains. The findings revealed that some of the chemicals under investigation had a particularly high potency, as we discussed above. Yusuf Samuel et al. Have synthesized one thiazole derivative and two new sulfathiazole derivative. Multi-point and spectroscopic techniques that are 1H and 13C NMR were used to describe the produced compounds. The antimicrobial activity of the produced compound was tested in vitro against the 2 gram-negative that are E. coli and Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and 2 gram-positive bacteria that are Staphylococcus sugones and Staphylococcus aureus. The bacteria were inoculated into nutrient broth and incubated at 37 degrees overnight. When compared to the typical medication, the compound showed potential inhibitory activity against gram-negative bacteria E. coli with the zone of inhibition. Harris et al. Synthesized cobalt, nickel, and copper complexes with shift-based ligand obtained by condensation of sulfathiazole with salicylaldehyde. The characterization were performed by elemental analysis, spectroscopic technique, thermal analysis, etc. The shift-based and the metal complexes were all again tested against the some bacterial strains. The result indicated that the antibacterial activity for the metal complex is better than those of the shift bases. Rama and R. Silvamina synthesized metal chelates of manganese, cobalt, nickel, copper, and zinc acetates with shift-based ligands obtained from sulfathiazole and 5-nitrosalicylaldehyde. Microanalytical data FTIR, 1H, 13 CNMR, UV visible spectra, magnetic moment, etc. These are the used to reduce the structural characteristics of the ligand as well as the complex. They were used. They were also studied for the antioxidant and the antibacterial properties. Here, the ligand's antioxidant property is strong, as evidenced by the decrease in activity against the ABTS assay when complex with metals. Farah Ali Daouda et al. Have synthesized the complex of the copper, nickel, cobalt, and manganese containing shift-based NOS donor ligands using chemical and electrochemical techniques. The structure of the complexes have been determined using elemental analysis, conductance, magnetic susceptibility measurements, IR, thermal techniques such as thermogravimetric analysis and DTA. Antimicrobial activity of the shift-base and its complex have been evaluated again as the gram-positive as well as the gram-negative bacteria. On gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, the most metal complexes inhibit the bacteria far more than the shift bases. V. Gomati and R. Selvamina have reported novel shift bases from sulfathiazole with 3-ethoxysalicylaldehyde, pyridine 2-carbaldehyde, 2-hydroxy-1-naphthaldehyde. Again, the characterization method has been used, and for the testing around antibacterial activity, the antibacterial against Staphylococcus aureus and gram-negative bacteria E. coli, Klebsiella sp. and Pseudomonas aeruginosa, as well as antifungal activity against Aspergillus niger and mucor. The shift base has exceptionally powerful antibacterial and antifungal action against gram-positive as well as gram-negative microorganisms. Belu and H. Hure E. et al. Prepared the metal complexes by reacting sulfathiazole and cobalt to metal oxidation state. In both the compounds, the cobalt ion has the octahedral environment. The I spectra in the region corresponding to amino signals show differences between them. The complex was tested for antifungal characteristics and shown to be active both against Aspergillus fumigatus, same as the ligand, and Aspergillus flavus, better than the ligand. J. Casanova et al. Synthesized and characterized copper to complexes of formula. This using spectroscopic techniques. The structure is made of dinuclear copper units with 4 sulfathiazole ligands that form a non-nuclear NCN groups that connects the metal ions. L. Figueira et al. Studied the biological activity of the sulfathiazole complexes cephatoxim, genatamicin, ciprofloxacin, and sulfathiazole were used as control to test the antibacterial activity of the sulfathiazole derivatives against Staphylococcus aureus and Vibrio cholerae. The antibacterial activity of several chemicals on various bacterial species were assessed using the microbial minimum inhibitory technique. New aliphatic sulfonamides have been found to be better antibacterial activity against Staphylococcus aureus and other pathogens, according to the reports they have studied. I.E. Otekure et al. Synthesized shift base, that is 4E phenylmethylidine amino N1,3-thiazole 2-yle benzene sulfonamide, that is PTSA, by coupling benzoyl acetone with sulfathiazole. Here, the manganese complex of PTSA was prepared, the characterization of the complex were done, and the biological activities were tested, and resultant found that antioxidative and antimicrobial actions of the metal shift bases were enhanced more than that of the shift bases itself. Here comes the conclusion. As we all know, the plentiful research papers have been spotted in this review paper, which has a great importance in this field. The recent advancement in the organic chemistry that have made possible the formation of the number of transition metal complexes with the organic ligands of interest. Here, the scientific data recognizes that many metal complexes shows antimicrobial activity, which also covers gram-positive as well as gram-negative bacteria. Now, the biological screening were also done in vitro in the lab against the bacteria for seeing the antimicrobial as well as antibacterial activity of the metal complexes that are derived from the sulfathiazole. And at last, the findings reveal that the metal complexes formed from the sulfathiazole have much superior biological activity than the parent ligand. Here are a few references that are quoted. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Richa.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
May I have now Anjul Daturia. Anjul. Ritu Goyal.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Anjul Daturia.
Okay. Anjul.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
So
also
you are presenting now. Okay. Anjul will present first, and then be ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Anjul, welcome. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, all of you. I am Anjul Daruria. My review topic is a review study on exploring Ayurveda as an alternative medicine in healthcare. Uh, Aspect. Ayurveda is a science of life with a holistic approaches to health and personalized medicine. Health is defined as a state of equilibrium with oneself, swasth, but which is inextricably linked to the environment. Ayurveda is a traditional Indian medical system being practiced for thousands of years. Considerable research on pharmacology, chemistry, pharmacology, and the clinical therapeutics has been carried out on Ayurvedic medicinal plants. Many of the major pharmaceutical corporations have renewed their strategy in favor of natural products in medicine discovery. So it is equally important to follow systems of clinical trials to the monitor biological application before preparing the formulation. The present review highlights various fields of research, including literary fundamentals, drugs, pharmaceutical, and clinical exploration in Ayurveda. Keywords: Ayurveda, health, therapeutic, and pharmacology. Introduction about Ayurveda. The name of Ayurveda is derived from two words. In Sanskrit, Ayu means life or longevity, and Veda meaning science and second knowledge. Ayurveda is definition, therefore, roughly translated as the science of longevity or the secret knowledge of life. Ayurveda is not a simply about taking an herbal formula and waiting for the results. Instead, it encourages you to be active participants in your own journey towards healing. A brief history of Ayurveda. The practice of Ayurveda as a medicine is believed to date back to over 5,000 years. During the Vedic periods of ancient India, Ayurveda recognized five elements as the fundamental building blocks of nature: earth, water, fire, air, ether, space. Every substance contains all five of the elements. That said, it in a given substance, one or two elements are typically predominant over the other. The dosas and your Ayurvedic body type. Then there are the three dosas: bodily humor, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and the dosas or some combination of them can be identified in various sessions, climates, landscape activity, plants, and animals. All three dosas are present in everyone, but the ratio of 1% to the next. There we are born with called a constitution. Ayurvedic body type are Prakriti in Sanskrit. We also have a state of balance, Vikati, which represent the dosas that are elevated within our body at a given time. Ayurveda in a healthcare. Ayurveda emphasizes prevention and health promotion and provides treatment for disease. It considers the development of consciousness to be essential for the optimal health, and meditation as the main technique for the achieving this. Treatment of disease is highly individualized and depend on the psychophysiological constitution of the patient. There are the different dietaries and the lifestyle recommendation for the each session of the year. Common species are utilized in treatment as well as herbs and herbal mixture. And special preparation known as the science are the used for the rejuvenation and promotion of longevity and slowing of the aging process. A group of purification procedure known as Panchkarma remove toxin from the psychology whereas the Western allopathic medicine is excellent in handling acute medical crisis. Ayurveda demonstrates an ability to manage chronic disorder that Western medicines has been unable to. Ayurveda in osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is a chronic condition of the joints in which cartilage cushioning the end of the bones gradually loses its elasticity and wear away against each other, causing stiffness, irritation, and pain. inflammation, and loss of the movement and control in inflammation. However, cause of the disease. The most common medication of prescribed from the osteoarthritis are at best moderately effect. In addition, side effect of these treatment can be quite significant and at time life-threatening. Osteoarthritis is the most common form of the arthritis worldwide, with the symptoms ranging from the minor discomfort to the depression. It can occur in any of the body joints, but most often develop in the hands and the weight-bearing joints, including the knee, hips, and spine, usually in the neck or the lower back. For people coping and the advanced osteoarthritis, the effects are not only physical but also emotional, as pain and decreasing mobility can limit the ability to work, participate in daily activities with friends and family, and enjoy life. What causes osteoarthritis? Well, science has no definite answer about what causes osteoarthritis. Researchers have identified several factors involved in the development and course of osteoarthritis. Some of these factors, including inflammation, biochemical imbalances, that but stress on the joints, and cellular disorder that lead to the abnormal breakdown of cartilage. It is important that the approaches we use in treatment osteoarthritis address as many of these factors as possible. Ayurvedic approaches to osteoarthritis, given the only moderate effectiveness and potential side effects, the conventional treatment, both patients and healthcare professionals are seeking out alternative therapies, including those offered by the ancient healing system known as Ayurveda. The lecture focus at three main modalities Ayurveda use treatment osteoarthritis and other disorders: herbal treatment, meditation, and yoga. Ayurvedic herbal treatment. Ayurveda offers many herbal treatments for the treatment of orthoarthritis. These plants are the documented anti-inflammatory properties without the side effect of commonly prescribed medication. For example, at the recent meeting of the American College of Rheumatology, a study of present that showed an herbal Ayurvedic therapy to be effective in treating knee osteoarthritis as a commonly prescribed medicine. Celebrex and glucosamine, and with fewer side effects. The Asia stated that Ayurveda offers safe and effective treatment alternative for osteoarthritis. The herbs Boswellia, turmeric, ashwagandha, ginger, trifla, google, and satabri have all been shown the decreased inflammation by interfering with the production of inflammatory chemical in the body. Conclusion: every human has all three doses, with one of them in prevalent position. Temporary disbalance in one of them can lead to the certain short-term disease, while the long-term untreated disbalance can be a reason from the chronic illness, all because continuous imbalances execute people, leaving them not enough energy to restore without respective medical treatment. Such execution is called as the Ayurveda is a well-established medical system. One should be accept the doctor to be able to determine main doses and develop a treatment program based on the medical record and the current complaints. Mindful application of Ayurvedic practices can effectively reduce symptoms and suppress disease trigger to the prevent or slow down the further progression. There are some references. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjul.
Thank you, ma'am.
So next participant in this series is Ritu Goel.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
No, no.
Now?
Yes. Okay, continue.
Okay, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ritu Goyal Khilwarkar, and I'm an entrepreneur by profession. And I've done my master's in business administration. Due to my interest in researching in different topics, I'm here in front of you. And today I'm going to present my topic, green banking, the consumer's perspective and their awareness level. I have done my research in the under the guidance of Dr. Professor Sresh Chawla, Delhi College Business School, Indore. So, the green banking is an eco-friendly financing basically. When bank concerns about environmental well-being while financing to businesses is considered as green banking. Green banking promotes environmentally friendly practices by being more digitalized. By more digitalized, uses of paper reduces, which affects environment positively, and it reduces external carbon emissions and internal carbon footprints in banking activities. By being more, it is also known as sustainable banking and ethical banking. Sustainable banking is a strategy that refers to banking and investment practices that pursue profits while prioritize social responsibility or environmental sustainability. The word green itself suggests the environmental concern. Here, some of the coverages which green banking has: remote deposits, sustainable banking, ethical banking, green mortgage, green loan, green credit card, green saving accounts, green CDs, green market accounts, mobile banking, online banking. Here, some of the points I'll say. We can see the green banking in many areas when include on all these online banking, mobile banking, green loans, and all. Few of areas I would like to elaborate the meaning in few lines, like green checking account are the account which are ideal for people on the go and who likes to do all the banking electronically. In this type of account, you are not allowed to do any physical transaction in the bank, which is not present in India currently. Now, about green marketing, it refers to the practices of developing and advertising product based on the real or perceived environment sustainability. Green CD, it is customer deposit. It is actually similar to the other deposit in banks, only in digitalized form of customer deposit in bank. Some of the products in green banking, green loans. We are moving. The green loans are the loans meant for sustainable friendly purposes such as reducing CO2 emission or purposes contributing to the green transition in societies such as developing new environment friendly technology. The green credit cards. Green credit cards are credit cards that donate a percentage of each purchase to an organization which is working for environment safety. So if you spend 100 rupees with a green credit card, something like rupees 1 will go towards the organization working for preventing climate change. Green saving account. It's a kind of account which can be opened with few rules and restrictions, not very popular in our country. And mobile banking, online banking are all aware about these products. Green banking features: automation and online banking, which we know. While providing loan, they consider environmental risk factor. Implementation of EDD. EDD is environmental due diligence. It identifies the existing and potential environment risk or hazards associated with the facilities or projects in India. Social safety and security. Human safety as well as life on Earth can be disturbed by climate change. So green banking helps in reducing the effects. Sustainable and green growth reduces its cost and energy also. Now, the customer's expectations. Our next slide comes to explain customer expectation in green banking. Interpersonal services. In our experience, the relationship between bank and the customer has the biggest impact on customer satisfaction. People want to be treated as if they matter. They want to form a relationship with the bank, and they want their bank to make an effort to get to know them instead of just pushing a product. Consistent omni-channel experience. In modern banking, there are many ways for customer to interact with the bank, including online and mobile banking at an ATM and over the phone. One of the biggest thing we have seen is that a consistent experience across channels matters to customer. Whether it is transferring information quickly between channels or making sure deposit times are consistent no matter how a deposit is made. These things matter. To provide a great customer experience, bank need to deliver on the expectations their customer have in all channels. Effective problem solving. Customers are reasonable. They know that an occasional problem or mishap is possible, but they also expect the bank will make the situation right. This means fixing the problem quickly and effectively. Now, what small mistakes by financial institution that lower customer satisfaction for banks? Treating a call center like a cost center. Your call center is a safety net. A quality call center solution can really help to improve the customer experience. But when corners are cut to reduce cost, your call center can do more harm than good. But not giving your call center enough resources or outsourcing to the most affordable solution, you could risk providing a poor customer experience. Avoiding interpersonal personal communication. Though this is not a large problem as it was in the recent past, banks that push customer out of branches and lean on digital space to reduce cost are missing the interpersonal communication and relationship building that is so important to banking customer. Having quality digital solution is convenient for customer, but you still have to commit it to getting to know the people that bank is with you. Some of the challenges we concluded while gathering data. Bank lost many clients due to rigorous follow-up as we are not meeting them physically, so we are not getting proper human touch. So this is happening. Bank are losing customers due to ineffective operational controls and technology issues. Customer loss or diverted. Lack of visibility on application status was also a big reason of customer dissatisfaction. A lengthy KYC process and multiple documents requested also made customer dissatisfied and disturbed. As customer is not present physically, so bank need to verify all details very minutely about the customer. But this is very challenging for the customer as they have to do it again and again many times. Post-COVID scenario. Now, we are potentially starting to slowly emerge from the pandemic. Banking executives are also wondering what next. To answer that, it helps to remember how demand for digital service was already very high before the coronavirus hit. Pre-coronavirus, 77% of low to middle income customers would choose a new bank based on how digital friendly it was. Let the numbers sink in for a second. Bank who promoted fully remote services during the coronavirus crisis should first foremost pay attention to what customers want going forward. And we saw there's a continuation of the digital servicing they received at the height of the crisis. In our most recent information, we found that consumers continue to express a growing desire of digital remote option and consistent with previous finding. They are willing to skip visit if it means visiting a physical branch. In fact, 55% of the consumers say, like in this slide, I would like to tell you what customer think about visiting the branch physically or no. 10% says I would like to go bank more often. 55% say would not like to say that, and 26% say they would avoid face-to-face banking. 10% I will only visit a bank lobby if mask and sanitizer are provided. Here are some of the options customer give for banking methods. Some of the 47% of the customers say drive-through and touchless banking will be preferred. 79% says more all digital processes. Now most of the customer would like to go for the digital. 26% in person with new safety measure. If bank can provide a safety measure where they are safe to do banking, they can go to the bank physically. In my conclusion, customers have spoken and the results are in. They don't see digital and remote services as a temporary makeshift solution. On the contrary, they want digital banking to be the default way of banking. Within person, transaction reserved for sensitive matters where advice is needed, not transactions. Bankers are busy discussing a return to the new normal, with the implication that going back to the usual way of doing things is desirable. But the evidence shows that in person is not as core as we once thought. In fact, people will actually pass on financial transaction if they are cumbersome and branch based. Customers have tested the convenience and ease of remote banking and they like it. Primary banks should think very careful about going back to relying in or in person processes. Those do should know it is just a matter of time before customer take the business to the digital first competitor that learned to the right lesson from the crisis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richa.
Ma'am,
Next, yes,
it's Ritu.
yes. Sorry. Uh,
Thank you, ma'am.
Next presenter is Ajay Badyal.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Welcome.
I'm audible?
Yes. Welcome and all the best.
Okay, thank you. Is it visible, ma'am? Hello? Hello? Is it
Yes,
visible, ma'am?
yes. Continue.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Ajay Badyal, is a scholar, tab of endocrinology, Department of Biosciences, Barkatullah University, Bhopal. And my presentation on the deficiency impact of vitamin D3 on some endocrine gland of mice, musculus, Parkinson's strain. So this is how we introduce this thing. The various, as we know that the various nutritional metabolic activities takes place like the reproduction, growth, and the development, like the sleeps, modes, and various other functions. Metabolic activities which are some essential and non-essential elements. And these nutrients like the vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and many more which we use in our day-to-day lives. And so as we're concerned with only the vitamins concerned here only. And this was discovered by the Casper in the 1912, and then further a Swiss chemist called Kramer 1931 classified the vitamins into the various forms like the A, B, C, D, and so on. This on the basis of the fat solubility and the non-solubility, like the water-soluble vitamins. Now, my main concern is on the vitamin D, and there's some endocrine glands of male mice. I will take it there only, and the vitamin D as a Sir Edwin Merrill. So it is also called as a sunshine vitamin. Then the vitamin D has the two types, that ergocalciferol and D2, and cholecalciferol vitamin D3, which is commonly known as the calciferol 1,2,5 dihydroxycholecalciferol, an activated form of vitamin D3. Now, in the current study, and it leads to the study of the impact, its various functioning, deficiency, impact on the various endocrine glands of the human. But as a close related research model, is a male mice, that is musculus, Parkinson's strain. In this study, I will take an adult mice, which is brought from the authorized dealers from the and I also have the ethical authorizations. And secondly, we take the self-designed diet, which is composed from the collaboration of NIN ICMR institutions, which we get the animal diet to the experimental throughout the whole of the experiment. Then some review of literature that we take from the Gilmartin and Associates 2019, especially for the role of vitamin D in the reproduction in humans. And then the consideration of xenobiotic detoxifications, oxidative stress reductions, and antimicrobial immunoregulations, anti-inflammatories for the mechanism actions of the vitamin D and on its receptors, according to the Gill et al. In the 2018. Like the India, like a country, the deficiency of vitamin D may be becoming a silent epidemic day by day. And as we get all essential nutrients from the common diet, but actually we need to get present scenario in our mind to make possible efforts to from this the vitamin D deficiency, according to Aurora et al. 2018. The role of vitamin D inculcate the various metabolic activities, and it indirectly changes the concept of consumption, decreases the menstruations, and changes the simple serum in the blood, according to Mohammed and the Zahar 2014. And the various defects of vitamin D mainly secreted directly or indirectly from our glands, endocrine, that mainly I am working over it, into the blood, that according to the Knight and the Nigam in 2017. This is a chemical structure of the vitamin D3, and the molecular formulas is here C27H4O11, and weights known as names. And the dosage supplementation, there is a 1 IU per gram per body weight, and pharmacological data, that is orally I give to the animals. This is a little signaling of the vitamin D3 as how it is being going from the UV light, or I take from the diet here only, and diet towards its our various DBB proteins, and then that is 1,2,5 dihydroxy vitamin D, that is from the adrenal glands effects on this on the kidneys, and then this is the whole of the signaling that in short I tell. Then what are the aims and objectives of my experiments? Experimental going. Main aims and objectives for my study, especially on the topic related to relief from the deficiency of vitamin D3 and the impact of various glands, decided to work on this. Studies immensely benefit on the body weight, normal histological parameters, and biochemical analysis of the hormones like testosterone mainly. Then there's a methodology that I take adult mice, nearly 30 to 35 grams of body weight, having strain musculus, and the plot from authorized authorities, and animals will maintain the proper standard conditions for few days prior to the experimentation. Then I divided this my experimental group into the three: group 1, group 2, and the group 3. On the successive time period of the 60 days, group 1 will consider the control group. Second is the VDD, that is the vitamin D3 deficient group, and then third one is the D3 supplement group. This is the dosage and dose composition. There's a 1 IU per gram per body weight. That is nearly about 0.025 milligrams. Pharmacological data, route is orally through the gavages. It will be introduced orally for the duration of the 60 days, weekly to the mice, and in one group we imparted the vitamin D deficient diet to all the animals for causing the deficiency of particular vitamin. Then what's the experimental design in each and every group, like group 1, group 2, and group 3. Group 1, it is 15 animals, and then group 2 and the 3 one is also 15 animals. And according to Sherpa and the Degan, F et al. 2018, according to that, we designed the vitamin D deficient diet for the same time period of 60 days. And in the third group, that is a supplemented group of the cholecalciferol vitamin D3, orally we give the this dose according to the Malia M. Sanjay et al. In the 2016. Then there are some parameters like the body weight, then the normal histology, and the hormonal estimation. These are the results that came after 60 days, and the results show the various histological changes along the changes in the concentration of the hormones, testosterone, and firstly we find the histological impact on the basis of structure and on the basis of the estimation of that hormone, that particular to the testosterone hormone. So this is a controlled way of histological parameters, that how it will become the very controlled the cells, controlled cells of the testes. Then this is the deficient groups, vitamin D3 deficient group, how the structural conformational changes will be occurred. And then if we see that the supplemented group, that again it gets reformed as compared to the controlled one. And this is a enlarged view of the magnification on enlarged view of the supplementary group, that how it can be getting again recovering its whole as comparison to the controlled one. And this is the hormonal estimations, that how we can do. We do on the basis of estimation particular male hormones by applying the ELISA-Kit method on the basis of the defined concentrations. And this is the what's called the graphical representation that shows among the how the control group, that is the vitamin D3, and the supplemented one. And this I give the combined view over here, that is supplemented group like that is 2.4203 and like the 1.196 and 1.413. So in that group that we find that there is a large deviation from that group, that other supplemented group can again reform the conditions. And then these are descriptions that among the experiment, the particular duration of 60 days, the highest possible impact in terms of the absorbance values, which will be taken by us under the wavelength of 450 nanometers, and all the defined groups was observed and calculated. And in the concluding statement, said the latest piece of experimental work that we study the concluded deficient persons will getting the reduction in the physical appearances like reduction, loss of hairs. Especially in the vitamin D group, there is a gain in the weight and the less sexual desires. And many times the mood swings like conditions will also be noticed. And it is due to the vitamin D3 deficiency that we observe. then the deficiency will be removed by taking the disease implementation dose as prescribed to get the relief from this deficiency. So moreover, these things can be only this type of changes can be recovered on the histological basis and on the basis of the recovery of this deficiency, then only it is possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next participant in this series is Varsha Vishwakarma. Varsha. Varsha, are you there? Varsha Vishwakarma.
Hello.
Hello.
Again, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to explain my
Pardon?
Ma'am, are you audible me?
Yes.
Ma'am, I
Bolliye.
want to explain. Ma'am, I want to present my PPT again.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Carry on. Welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Sarita.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you presenting now?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, some
बेटा सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है या आपका कुछ शेयरिंग दिखाई दे रहा है इधर? आपको कुछ इश्यूज हैं वहाँ? नेटवर्क नहीं है अभी भी? तो आप थोड़ी देर बाद प्रेजेंट कर लीजिए.
yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, नेक्स्ट पार्टिसिपेंट को कॉल करती हूँ. Surbhi, are you there? Surbhi Singh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome. All the best.
A very good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Surbhi Singh from Career College, Bhopal. Global prevalence of breast cancer and its rising frequency makes it a key area of research and drug discovery program. So my presentation is on studies to compare efficacy of newly designed QSR assisted drug molecule with chemotherapy against breast cancer. Now we talk about the need of our work. It is the most common cancer in women worldwide. In 2020, there were 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer. These diseases will keep on increasing at a higher rate in many countries. You will be surprised to know that the relative survival rate for breast cancer is 90%. Women are alive 5 years after they have been diagnosed with breast cancer. The drugs introduced till now does not work on every person at all environmental conditions. Now we talk about the treatment generally. Chemotherapy is used for the treatment of breast cancer. Chemotherapy uses anti-cancer drugs that may be given intravenously or by mouth. It's aimed to kill cancer cells. Sometimes not affect just cancer cells. They can also affect some healthy cells. By this treatment, patient facing the problems such as hair loss, mouth sore, nausea, infertility, early menopause. As I have already said, chemotherapy is a non-specific targeted and is required in a high dose, whereas we are trying to make our drug target specific and having less adverse effect. Discovery of a new drug is considered very expensive and time consuming. Therefore, we used computational method by this. Our drug is time, labor, and cost effective. We designed our drug with the help of QSR, which based on the Hansch postulate. QSR does a scientific approach and an economic achievement to reduce the complications in drug design. QSR is a computerized statistical method which tries to explain the observed variance in the biological system of certain classes of compounds. By QSAR, a chemist is able to describe and find out the effect of various physiochemical properties on drug potency and to explain the observed variance in the biological system of a certain classes of compounds. Here's the benefits of QSAR. It gives quantifying the relationship between structure and activity with their physiochemical properties basis, possible to make predictions of designing compounds before the chemical synthesis of novel analogues. It may help to understand the interactions between functional group of designed molecules and their activity of target enzyme or protein. It minimizes the time and cost needed in drug design process in comparison to the traditional drug discovery methods. Regarding the QSR modeling, reduce the need of a testing on animals or on cell cultures also. These are the drugs approved for the breast cancer treatment. We are working on such a drug which will be more effective than the existing one. Our drug can extend the life period of the patient. We are aiming it reduce side effects and working on accuracy. By this, definitely survival rate will increase and side effects will reduce and health risk will also reduces. Finally, the conclusion of this research is that we assume our developed molecule will be beneficial for the society, and hence we are taking a step towards the substantial development, and for sure we will try to synthesize our drug by any green synthetic method. By this slide, we end our presentation. Thank you for listening me.
Thank you, Surbhi. Varsha Vishwakarma. Sarita, are you ready? Okay, then you present first. Sarita Dubey. Sarita,
जी मैम.
why you are not presenting?
Ma'am, I will prepare ma'am whole, but some error occur ma'am. That's why what can I do, ma'am? I don't understand now. Ma'am, I will explain, ma'am, audibly. Ma'am, audibly.
Only audio, video is.
Ma'am, don't know what is my mistake.
Video is not playing. Video नहीं work कर रहा है
No,
आपका.
no, ma'am, I'm very.
आप बता दीजिए. आप बोल दीजिए.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
A very good afternoon, everybody, and I'm highly thank you for ma'am. My topic is isolations of the ma'am. Are you audible me? Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you, ma'am. My topic is isolations of the bioactive compounds from the cyanobacterium nostoc muscarum. First of all, I would like to about the cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is also known as cyanophyta. Cyanobacteria is a gram-negative bacteria. Cyanobacteria are good source of the various products of the commercially pharmaceuticals or toxicological importance. They can produce primary metabolites such as proteins, fatty acids, vitamins, or pigments, and many more. Now, simultaneously, cyanobacteria are important source of the antifungal compounds, antibacterial compounds, antimycobacterial also. Now, I would like to say about the methodology. First of all, organism growth condition. In present piece of the work, we experiment organism nostoc muscarum. The species of the cyanobacteria is a fermenter, gram-negative green-brown color. Now, culture media. The growth of the medium was the modified Q number 10. Actually, name this chemical is Q number 10 because scientist 10 number experiment was select. That's why Q number 10 name is chemical, and compositions of the growth medium is given in a table 1.5 don't visual of micronutrients mixer solutions were taken in a final volume 1000 double distilled water and pH adjust 8.5 to autoclave. Now I want to tell about the sterilizations. Culture media were sterilized prior to incubations under a aseptic condition. Here the means of aseptic condition means free from all the contaminants. That is means of aseptic condition. All the glasswares were the sterilized in a hot air oven 160 degrees centigrade for 2 hours. Now, antibiogram studies, broth cultures of the pure culture isolate of those test microorganisms which are sensitive towards the phytoextracts used in present study were prepared by transferring a loop of the culture into sterile nutrients and potato PDA, that means broth, and incubated at a 37 degrees centigrade for 24 to 48 hours. A full was taken from these broth and sealed onto sterile nutrient agar plates through the sterile cottons to develop diffuse heavy lawn culture. Finally, the well diffusion, it is very, very important methods test for antimicrobial activities, antimicrobial test. The well diffusion method was used to determine the antimicrobial activity of the extract using standard procedure. These were three concentration used, which are 25, 50, and last 100 for each extract phytochemicals and antibiogram study. It is essential features is the placing of wells with the antibiotics on the surface of agar. Now these are my results. Simultaneously, characterizations of isolated compound. Each 10 ml were collected and isolated compounds was characterized by UV absorption spectra, IR, NMR, and mass spectra studies also. And lastly, IR analysis. The IR spectrum of the compound were recorded and used solid plates technique. And lastly, I would like to say about the conclusion. MDR means multi-drug resistance phenomena is very, very common in human pathogens. Here the means of pathogens means disease-causing bacteria, virus. All are audible me or not? Ma'am, are you audible me? Hello?
Yes, yes. Continue.
Pathogens, here the means of pathogens means disease-causing bacteria. Therefore, it is a need of the hour to develop isolated, characterized new drugs from the resistant cyanobacteria to overcome MDR. मीन्स एमडीआर इतना रेजिस्टेंस हो चुका है कि यदि बात करें एंटीबायोटिक्स की, रेम्पेमाइसिन एंड मेनी मोर एंटीबायोटिक्स पे भी उसका इफेक्ट नहीं होता है. Lastly, eventually I would like to say Mycobacterium tuberculosis is a positive organism of tuberculosis. These microorganisms, this microorganism gradually showing resistant to rapamycin and many more antibiotics. In the present study, we are isolating bioactive compounds from the cyanobacteria nostoc muscarum and use these bioactive compounds against Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Lastly, I would like to say that once the bioactive would be isolated, they will be characterized for chemical synthesis. In this way, we will be able to develop new drugs from the cyanobacteria nostoc muscarum to control and check tuberculosis. This new drug would be cheap and would be more effective against the pathogen and will help removing the Mycobacterium tuberculosis from the Indian society. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm highly thankful for you because you giving my again.
Thank you
so much, ma'am. You are very kind.
Thank you.
Thank you to all.
Next presenter is Varsha Vishwakarma. Varsha, are you ready?
Yes, yes ma'am.
Okay. Welcome, Varsha. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning to one and all. I am Varsha Vishwakarma, research scholar from CARE College, Bhopal. My title is Potential Filtering Sheet for Lead, Preventive Mask for Patients. As we all are aware of the rise in air pollution, which is a cause of concern for all environmental scientists, airborne diseases are life-threatening. Air pollution.
Varsha, your slides are not changing. Don't make it full screen, then it will move.
Okay, ma'am. मैम विंडो भी किया था।
Yes, Varsha.
Ma'am, is it changing now?
Yes, visible.
No, ma'am, slide is changing now.
Yes, moving.
Good morning to one and all. I am Varsha Vishwakarma from Carrier College, Bhopal. My topic is potential filtering sheet for lead preventive mask for patients. As we all are aware of the rise in air pollution, which is a cause of concern for environmental scientists, airborne diseases are life-threatening. Air pollution not only affects the human health, but it also affects environment, plants, etc. According to one of the reports of WHO, 7 million people die every year due to inhaling polluted air. There are many sources which are the causes of air pollution, such as vehicle exhaust fume, exhaust from industrial plants and factories, construction and agricultural activities, heavy metals such as lead, cadmium, mercury, etc. are also one of the main air pollutants. Getting exposed to these air pollutants above threshold may increase the risk of heart diseases, respiratory infections, lung cancer, asthma. Lead, which is a very toxic heavy metal. Exposure to lead may cause disturbance in kidney and liver functions, damage to the reproductive organs, and many more health issues. Therefore, we need to develop a potential diagnostic device which can detect heavy metal as well as filter the toxic entities. There are many sensors for air quality which are available in market, but they are not able to detect heavy metal ions and remove them. Hence, our device will be the first of its type point of care device. Our device will be valuable for indigenous people. Our work basically depends on the optical analytical method, which is based on green chemistry principle, minimal use of chemicals. Our Pactode is an optical device, which is a paper-based ear sensor. It is software assisted. Our Pactode is prepared by immobilizing 10% KI and starch on Wortman filter paper 40. These are the results of percent removal of lead from different samples of air we have done in the laboratory. The effectiveness of our developed paper-based diagnostic filtering sheet are, it is able to determine the presence of lead in the different samples of air, as well as it is able to filter the lead content. It will be effective in point of care prevention. Why we opt for Pactode? As it is cheap, robust, user-friendly, and above all disposable. Thus, paper-based ear sensors can detect traces of toxic metals, especially lead, and it can be used as a filtering mask sheet, which can be utilized by asthmatic patients, as well as preventive mask in industries, mines, and highly polluted areas. Hence, we can conclude that our developed sensor filtering sheet is useful in preventing airborne diseases if it is used as a sandwich layer in mask for asthmatic allergic patients, workers, and it can also be used in the factories, industries for preventing us from inhaling polluted air. I would like to thank Dr. Charanjit Kaur, ma'am, Principal, Carrier College, Bhopal, for providing the lab facilities. I would like to show my thanks to my supervisor, Dr. Ruchita Sharma, ma'am, for guiding me. I would like to show my gratitude to Dr. Suparna, ma'am, HOD, Department of Chemistry, Carrier College, Bhopal, Dr. Anita K, ma'am, Dr. Shweta Sharma, ma'am, and Dr. Anita Singh, ma'am, for always supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Varsha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any presenter left? Is there anybody who want to present?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Indu Solanki. I'm remaining.
Anjul, you
Ma'am,
present it?
I am Indu Solanki, ma'am.
Okay. Continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Just 1 second, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Indu Solanki, and my topic is therapeutic importance of transition metal complexes derived from substituted thiazole. Abstract CYP-based ligands are considered as prosperous ligands as they can be simplified synthesized by condensation of an amino compounds with carbonyl compounds. CYP-based are reported to possess of remarkable therapeutic activities due to presence of azomethine, carbon double bond, nitrogen, moieties, and substituted thiazole-based transition metal complexes have gained much attention because of their unique properties. In the field of therapeutic science, substituted thiazole are of extraordinary importance because of their potent and the significant biological activities. Their derivatives are found in various powerful naturally and biological activities. Compounds which pose of the broad spectrum of biological activity, present paper summarize and therapeutic importance of transition metal complex of base derived from substitute thiazole. Introduction. CYP-base play important role of inorganic chemistry since they can easily form stable complexes with most transition metal ions. CYP-base are formed when any primary amines react with an aldehyde or a ketones under specific condition. Structurally, a CYP-base, also known as imine and azomethine, is a nitrogen analogous of the aldehyde and ketones in which of carbonyl groups has been replaced by an imine and azomethine group. Coordination chemistry widely developed in the last few decades is the highly considered in inorganic, organic, and biological field. It has been always been a challenge for chemists. It has a more branches nowadays. Transition metal complex, which is usually contain nitrogen, sulfur, and oxygen as ligand atom, have become increasingly important because of the C-base can bind with different metal center involving various coordination site and allow successful synthesis of metal complexes. The high affinity for the chelating of the C-base towards the transition metal ion is utilized in preparing their solid complex. The interaction of these donor ligands and metals ion gave complexes of different geometric and literature survey reveal that these complexes are biologically active compounds. Thus, the recent year, CYP bases and their metals complex have attained much attention because of their extensive biological. And second is transition metal. Okay. First is the transition metal have an initial place in inorganic chemistry. Transition metal represent the D block element which include groups 3 to 12 on the periodic table. Their D blocks are process of filling. The property of transition metal result in the fundamental of the coordination complex. Metal complex or coordination compound is the structure consisting of the central metals atoms bonded to the surrounding area of the molecules or anions. Transition element and transition metals are elements that have partially filled d orbitals. Some main transition metals are iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, etc. Second, transition metal have played an important role of the development of a new metal-based drugs. Transition metals show different oxidation state and can interact with the number of negatively charged molecules. Thus, activity of transition metal has started the development of metal-based drugs with promising pharmacological application and may offer unique therapeutic opportunities. Research has shown significant progress of utilization of transition metal complexes as drug to treat several human diseases like carcinic, lymphomas, infection control, anti-inflammatory, diabetes, and the neurological disorder. Thiazole. Thiazole is a five-membered heteroaromatic ring. Is a super framework of the large number of synthetic compounds. It derives activity thiazole containing molecules with wide range of biological activity such as antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-tumor and anti-inflammatory effects. There is one of the leading heterocyclic five-member ring compounds that contain sulfur atom at position and nitrogen atom at position. Its natural and synthetic derivatives possess diverse biological activity. It employs both the electron donating sulfur and electron accepting carbon double bond nitrogen, and these create a stable heterocyclic compound. And thiazole is considered as an important group of heterocyclic properties. Review literature of substituted thiazole. Nalabar, Nalabar is reported the transition metal complex C-base derived from two amino-thiazole. The complexes were characterized by elemental carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and metal, and spectral UV visible and IR. Analyze magnetic susceptibility and conductivity, measurement and evaluation of biological activities. They reported that these complexes show anti-inflammatory and antifungal activities. Conclusion. Thus, in summary, there is a numerous method of reported on the thiazole derivatives. Thiazole containing CIP base and their metal complex are important due to their remarkable antimicrobial activities. Hence, it is a study of synthetic of CIP bases and their metal complex of thiazole for various applications with the advancement in the field of inorganic chemistry. The role of transition metal complexes as their therapeutic compounds is becoming increasingly important. Recent advances and organic chemistry have made possible formation of number of transition metal complex with organic ligand of interest which can be used therapeutic as well. Thank you.
Hello. Anyone who want to give presentation? Anybody is there? Okay. So let's wind up this session. Thank you all. Now we will move to the next session. Expert lectures will be there. Just a minute. We'll be sharing it. So today in this session, we have with us Professor Dr. Luis Miguel Cardoso, a PhD from Polytechnic Institute of Porto Alegre and Center for Comparative Studies of the University of Lisbon, Portugal. Is an adjunct professor, Department of Language and Communication Sciences. He's an adjunct professor, Department of Language and Communication Sciences at the School of Education and Social Science, Polytechnic Institute. He was Dean of the School of Education and Social Sciences, Deputy Director of the Master in Media and Society, a researcher at the Center for Comparative Studies at the University of Lisbon, President of Association of Reflection and Intervention in the Educational Policy of Higher Education Schools in Portugal, Coordinator of the Communication Bureau of the Polytechnic Institute of Porto Alegre. His main areas of interest in teaching and research are sciences of language and communication, pedagogical innovation, literacies, education, and literature and cinema, under which he published scientific articles also. He made presentations in Portugal and several countries, including Brazil, Spain, France, UK, Italy, etc. He has published the book Literature and Cinema, The Look of Janus, Virgilio Ferreira, and The Space of the Unspeakable. He is a member of several international organizations and associations as well as a member of the editorial board of international journals in the areas of language and communication sciences, comparative literature, literature of cinema, literacies, and education. So let's welcome the speaker. Please, sir.
Good morning. Greetings from Portugal.
Good morning, sir.
So first of all, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the very kind words from our moderator. Thank you for your very kind introduction. It's a very pleasure to be here. And I would also like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me. And I would like to address all the participants and the eminent speakers for today's conference, and of course, present my warmest greetings. I would like to share my screen, if possible.
Yes, sir. You please share it.
Thank you. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible. Please continue, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, my dear colleagues and my dear friends, the topic that I chose for today's presentation is trends in digital research for sustainable development, literacies, and humanities. And my dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to highlight a key issue that we are facing nowadays. This is a great challenge for us all, teachers and researchers in this 21st century. We are now on a crossroad regarding education, higher education policies, university curricula, and secondary schools, guidelines and frameworks for the future. And regarding all these levels about educational systems worldwide, there is a set of trends that can be highlighted today regarding digital research. And they are very important for sustainable development. Of course, digital research for sustainable development is a very broad topic, a very broad domain. And I would like to focus today on literacies and humanities. So our main challenge, dear colleagues, is to understand that our world is really changing. For example, many of today's graduate courses did not exist 10 years ago. We're talking about courses like new media and e-business and nanotechnology and 3D design, supply chain management or recycling technology or geomatics. So this, of course, means that higher education institutions must always be up to date regarding the needs of the labor market, because the labor market is so demanding nowadays and is demanding regarding knowledge, skills, and most of all, competencies from our students, not just to be great professionals, but also to be great citizens. So about all these frameworks, one element is vital, and this element is the portrait of the 21st century learner. And the 21st century learner is a combination of three major areas that include entrepreneurial spirit, engaged thinker, and of course, the ethical citizen. So these three domains have at its core the 21st century learner. And this 21st century learner is connected with collaboration and leadership, critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, social responsibility and cultural, global and environmental awareness, communication, digital literacy that is vital nowadays, and lifelong learning, self-direction, and personal management. So all these elements are now connected, because when we think about the skills that are required today, according to the World Economic Forum, we can see that we have a list of skills that are growing, and we have a list of skills that are declining. So about these skills that are growing, they include analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, creativity, originality and initiative, technology design and programming, critical thinking and analysis, complex problem solving, leadership and social influence, emotional intelligence, reasoning, problem solving and ideation, systems analysis and evaluation. So these are the skills that are growing in 2022. Of course, we also have a list of skills that are important, quite important, really, but they are declining. And these include manual dexterity, endurance and precision, memory, verbal, auditory and special abilities, management of financial material resources, technology, installation and maintenance, reading, writing, math and active listening, management of personnel, quality control and safety awareness, coordination and time management, visual, auditory and speech abilities, technology use, monitoring and control. So, my dear colleagues, this does not mean that this list of skills that are declining are no longer important. This means that we have to create a new equilibrium between this list that belongs to 2020, 2021, and the previous years, And the list of the skills that are now more important. And of course, all this must be connected with the labor market, the demanding labor market. Because if we could at least highlight three major domains, we could focus our attention in learning skills, like, as I said before, critical thinking, creative thinking, collaborative and communicating, and literacy skills like information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, and life skills like flexibility, initiative, social skills, productivity, and leadership. So these are the three main areas regarding learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills that we are dealing with in higher educational systems. Of course, this is all connected with the major changes that we had during the COVID-19 pandemic. And during this COVID-19 pandemic, a lot has changed in our educational systems, not just in our universities, not just in secondary schools, but also in all levels regarding our educational systems. And most important, these changes are common to our different countries. They are worldwide changes. So this is a portrait of the skills that the COVID-19 enhanced, and COVID-19 showed us that are very important for our students today. And these skills include perseverance, empathy, emotional intelligence, solidarity, critical thinking, self-regulation, adaptability, communication, compassion, creativity, digital, and resilience. So these are the most important skills that are required today for our students to go ahead in their studies and to engage the challenges of the labor market. Of course, when we are analyzing the skills, we must also understand that a lot of frameworks have been changing because our students are changing as well. So when we take a look at our teams on screens, we see our students that are connected at the same time with different gadgets, with mobile phones, with computers, with laptops, with games, video games, all at the same time. So this is a very demanding student for us, and we must adapt our educational system to this new student. So UNESCO in 2017 already predicted all this and began highlighting a report from 2015, the so-called Qingdao Declaration, that declares that to achieve the goals of inclusive, equitable, and quality education and lifelong learning by 2030, and this is our goal, so ICT-based teaching and learning needs to be integrated into all sectors of education. However, it also observes that on their own, ICTs will not bring about the required transformation, and that there is a need for well-informed, long-term policies and strategies, professional development, and self-research and innovative methodologies for educational technology to play a central role in building inclusive and sustainable knowledge societies. So ICTs are now absolutely vital in our educational systems because our students are different, our demands regarding labor market enterprises and corporations are different, and because the requirements of the skills that our students must have also are different. So education needs to aim to do more than prepare young people for the world of work. It needs to equip students with the skills they need to become active, responsible, and engaged citizens. Students will need to apply their knowledge in unknown and evolving circumstances. For this, they will need a broad range of skills, including cognitive and metacognitive skills, as we said before, critical thinking, creative thinking, learning to learn, and self-regulation, but also social and emotional skills like empathy, self-efficacy, and collaboration, and practical and physical skills as well, just like using new information and communication technological devices. And this is from a report from the OECD that was published in 2018. So education, of course, is now focused on these new students that require a new teacher. And what is the portrait of the new teacher, the teacher for the 21st century? So we talk about the 21st century skills, and these 21st century skills are also connected with this portrait of the 21st century teacher that includes the risk taker, the collaborator, the model, the leader, the visionary, the learner, the communicator, and the adapter. So flexibility is a key word regarding not just educational systems, universities, secondary schools, but also the teaching and learning processes and the portrait and the teacher training programs. These elements are very important. And what about the most important skill that we have highlighted at the beginning of our presentation? Literacy skill. So literacy skill is not just about one literacy, but a set of literacies. This is what we call digital literacy skills. So digital literacy skills are the ability and know-how of digital skills in conjunction with critical thinking across the varied digital platforms and devices. Having digital literacy skills means possessing a combination of digital skills, competence, knowledge, practical ability, research, digital learning, understanding, evaluation, interpretation, creation, and communication. The area between digital skills and digital literacies is where digital literacy skills lie. So this is the most important challenge that we have today regarding skills. Some examples of digital literacy skills include app development, data analysis, analytics interpretation, deck presentation creation, digital communication, digital content creation, digital copywriting, information evaluation, photo visual literacy, search engine optimization, social media content management, and software creation. Of course, all this make us think about the next challenge, that is digital learning. And how can we approach digital learning? By addressing these changes, the changes connected with the skills, with the portrait of the 21st century learner, the portrait of the 21st century teacher. So all this is connected, my friends. Research, teaching, and learning. We cannot have excellent teachers if we cannot also connected with teaching, an extraordinary activity regarding research. And when we build a bridge between research and teaching, we will get extraordinary learning procedures and processes. So all this is a set of pieces that cannot be separated: research, teaching, and learning. So where do we start? First of all, when we understand the elements of research, every research has a starting point. So first of all, we choose our research topic, we as teachers, we as researchers, and then we narrow it down and find our niche. We identify a research problem. We develop clear research questions. We create a research design to answer them. And then we write down our research proposal. So this is the basis for implementing local sustainable development strategies. And this is an individual effort, but also a collective effort. And this collective effort is, of course, dealing with the organizational structure, the structure that we have in our schools, in our universities, that begins with analysis. So we have a diagnosis, we have the first analysis regarding the problem we want to solve. Then we have the first draft of a strategy. Then we have a formal resolution. Then we have an implementation and monitoring of that formal resolution. We have evaluation and updating, and then we return to analysis to create a second level of diagnosis and check if this movement, this cycle, is a successful cycle. For this, we need frameworks, we need guidelines, we need documents, we need reports, we need studies, we need international studies. So I'm sharing with you now 3 very important reports that can be a great help for us all, teachers and researchers. I'm talking about Education for Sustainable Development, a roadmap from UNESCO. And of course, this is about Education 2030. I'm talking about Introduction to Sustainable Development Leadership and Strategies in Higher Education. And I'm also talking about the Digital Strategy 2022-2025 from the United Nations Development Program. These reports are very, very important to make us realize that these changes require from us a huge effort to create a new framework approaching the labor market needs and, of course, the reforms that have to be implemented in our universities to cope with these challenges. So at the beginning, we were talking about the connection about research, teaching, and learning. And what is the reason for research, my dear friends? Of course, the reason for research can be divided in 3 levels: the exploratory, the descriptive, and the explanatory that you already know. What I would like to say is that these 3 levels must be connected to a very different approach regarding the teaching methodologies that we have in our classrooms. This is why I also recommend reading this book, Reimagining Digital Learning for Sustainable Development. And this is a very important book where you can find a set of not just challenges, but also answers regarding these challenges. And of course, questioning is the basis for all of this. But we need answers to go ahead. We need answers to improve our methodologies. We need answers to improve our techniques in our classrooms. So this is why we have different types of research that we can mobilize and use in our classrooms. And these include, of course, report research, qualitative research, quantitative research, analytical research, persuasive research, environmental research, survey research, and problem solution research. I would like to say that we cannot use all these types of research at the same time. So we must adapt. We must be flexible. We must select the type of research that is more important for our classroom, for this topic, for this outcome, this learning outcome, for my school, for my students, for my university. So we must select the proper and the most important research methodologies so that I can create more teaching and learning opportunities. So let us summarize what we have said so far. We talked about research, we talked about digital research, we talked about education, and all this leads us to development. So nowadays, development, that is our common goal in our countries, for 2030 goals, for 2030 horizon. So this means that research cannot be separated from education. This means that pedagogical innovation cannot be separated from research. All this connected gives us very important clues regarding development. So, of course, we all know different types of research. We already highlighted sometimes, but we have to focus our research by addressing the major challenges that we have here that include application, objectives, and inquiry mode. So I will not be explaining all this that I'm sharing now in this slide, but I would like to say that when we choose a path, we must understand that schools are different, students are different, classrooms are different, countries are different, educational systems are different, of course. So we have frameworks, we have international frameworks, we have international guidelines that we can use, but we have to adapt. So being flexible is the answer for all this. And again, about research, one of the most important trends that we have nowadays is not about just doing research, it's about doing digital research. And digital research is connected with the first idea that I shared with you today, that is literacy skill and literacy skills that are, of course, the basis for digital research. For digital research can be defined as the use of digital technologies that change the way research is carried out and make it possible to face new challenges in the area. So this means that we have digital research skills that can be summarized in these 4 areas: critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, and dissemination. So these are the research skills that are most important for our work as teachers and as researchers to go ahead and improve our methodologies. because digital research is about a cycle regarding assessing, reusing, creating, analyzing, preserving, and publishing. And when we make this flow as a continuum in our daily life, in our work, in our schools, in our universities, all of this becomes natural. So it's not an imposition, it's not just an extra burden, it's natural to have research connected with teaching and learning. So again, digital research is about emphasis on large-scale, mass-critical research focused on real-world challenges. As I said before, higher education institutions, universities, must be connected with the labor market. So degrees must be connected with the labor market. So curricula must be connected with real-world challenges. So these are often addressed by multidisciplinary, multi-institutional, and often international study groups, which address the need to work collaboratively. So we have to create networks, my dear colleagues. And this is why conferences like this one are so important, because we can share best practices. We can share ideas from different countries, and we can meet new colleagues, and we can exchange ideas. This is so important nowadays. So a strong emphasis on research impact, which will have a greater need to collect evidence, stronger partnerships, and broad social impact promotions. Because higher education institutions are not just about education, are not just about skills, degrees. They are about social impact. And universities have a huge social impact. So again, what are our top digital trends nowadays? So these include networks and social media, mobile computing and mobile work, analytics and big data, the Internet of Things, IT consumerization, cloud computing, and safety. And these digital trends can be adapted to several domains and several topics. For example, let's take a look at the challenges regarding teaching English, for example. So students learn by practicing, and students learn by practicing in all domains. But of course, when they are learning English, practice is so important. So computers and the internet are natural contexts to practice language skills for real-life tasks. And learners can practice English when finding information on their child's school website, for example, researching the going rate for an apartment in their area, writing a resume, or using online learning programs. These are different tasks that enhance learning opportunities. So it's important to use instructional activities that provide both an opportunity to practice digital skills and strengthen the problem-solving process implicit in knowing what skill to use and when. Again, adaptability and flexibility. So computers and the internet offer endless opportunity for language learners to practice, whether through online programs or completing real digital tasks. Meanwhile, higher language competencies open up more opportunities for students to practice their digital literacy skills. Language and digital literacy instruction are mutually reinforcing. So my dear friends and my dear colleagues, I would like to end this presentation by highlighting a very important keyword: foresight. We need foresight in our schools. We need foresight in our universities. We need foresight in our classrooms. We need foresight in teacher training programs. Because if we have foresight, we can go ahead and be optimistic regarding the 2030 challenges that we have. And these challenges are global. And to act globally, we must understand that we have global frameworks, but we have to adapt these frameworks to our countries, to our realities, because we know our students, we know our communities, and we must adapt all this to our students, first of all, to our students, for their success, to be excellent professionals and extraordinary citizens. So, thank you very much for paying attention for this. Of course, if you have questions, I'll be having all the pleasure in the world to answer them. So thank you again for inviting me. It was an extraordinary opportunity to share these ideas. Looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your informative lecture. It was indeed very informative. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Naren Bhojak, Associate Professor, Government PG College, Bikaner. Hello. He got 25 years of teaching and he is hello. Dr. Naren Bhojak, PhD from Delhi University. He got 83 research papers in his credit and 5 books and 3 patents, 65 keynote talk in national and international conferences, refresher courses and FTPs. Then 26 students has completed MPhil and he was supervised 18 PhDs and member of Board of Studies in Bikaner University, external member BTU and Academic Council RNB Global University, member Research Committee, Editorial Board and referee for 5 journals, and he got Young Scientist Award during International Conference on Molecular Association and got Best Research Paper Award. Then Chemi Chronicle Award in 95 and selected as eminent speaker during SCI Mumbai. 14 Best Poster and Paper Awards, and he was a guest of honor during International Conference on Basic Science in Ayurvedic System at BHU, and he got Educational Excellence Award in 2018, and he was selected for Newton Bhabha Fellowship and Indo-UK project in 2019, and has prepared 12 science films. 4 were presented and nominated for award during 6th National Science Film Festival, Mumbai. 1 science movie awarded special jury award during IISF in 2019 at Kolkata. and the Google citation is 860 and Edge index is 14 and the RG score is 24. So now let's welcome Dr. Bhojek. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruchi Dubey, providing me this opportunity on this very significant and auspicious platform. I'm going to start share my slides visible. My slides are visible or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, so I'm starting, and I think I'll have to finish within 20-25 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll try to stick on the time. Before I actually start, if I would request to any of the organizer, if there is some problem related with the appearance of slide, kindly inform me. Otherwise, I'll continue. Before I actually start, I would like to convey my best wishes and regards to all organizing team of Career College, particularly to Dr. Ruchi, who has given this chance to present some of the research work being carried out in our institution. Title which I'm placing here is Green Chemical Technology Science for Problem Solution. So as far as I'm knowing that many people at Career College are working in context to green chemistry. So this is a good interactive platform. So these two instruments are from our institution, and this one has been designed by us, and we have got patent on this. And this is a 3D printer on which we are working on the material part recently. But I'm in this presentation, I'm going to discuss few other points. Initiation is with the quotation taken by this Nobel laureates. Processing, business is not for money, it's for solving the problem, and this is the purpose of green chemistry, green chemical technology, and this is in regard of sustainable development. So when we are talking about the sustainable development, so the difference in between environmental chemistry and green chemistry must be understood. And these are few thoughts which are immediately coming in our mind, where environmental chemists or environmental scientists are mainly working. But as a green chemistry person or green chemical technology part, we will have to think on these thoughts, but in a different or sustainable way. So when we are discussing about the areas, then you may be knowing that these are the top 10 areas where people are working at present. In our institution, we are working on these two, chemiluminescence and target protein degradation. But recently means in last 4 or 5 years, we have been able to develop 11th area of research. All these photographs which I'm showing here in this particular slide are from our lab, and is one of the students' research work. And this is what I'm going to discuss here in some extent. This is the technique which we have developed, the known as biosensitization, and this is due to the inoculation of biosensitization of zinc oxide. So it can decrease the various diseases, particularly is diabetes type 2. So it's a different kind of process, and for this we have recently filed for patent. So for students' point of view or for audience point of view, not going in the detail of this, I'm coming to the basics, because when we are saying about the sustainable science or sustainable chemistry, we should know the basic of the hazards as well as basics of the development. If all of you are well aware with the chemistry laboratory or biotechnology laboratory or geology botany laboratory, you all are well aware with the LR grade acid. I am used to tell this particular information in all of my lectures or so. So this is just for the questions. a question from the students only. How much water required for the complete neutralization of 1 milliliter of this acid, which is being thrown in your laboratory? Because our laboratories must be at least sustainable. So how much water is required for complete neutralization of laboratory grade acid, which is being thrown in your laboratory? So you can check from here, and we will answer it in the last or after 20 minutes, whichever is earlier. Second thought which I'm placing here in front of the students again, or listeners, which is the most hazardous point. For this, I'm answering just now. For the previous one, I'll be answering later on. So you can think which is more hazardous, plus most hazardous. All are hazardous. This is the list of or photographs of the most hazardous materials available in these era, but which is most hazardous? These are the plastics, wine, drugs, gutka, or tobacco, gutka, or the cigarettes. So it's very interesting to know that usually we are calling that plastic is more hazardous, but answer is the cigarette. And why cigarette? This is related with the plastic itself. Cigarette is hazardous, we all know that, because of the tobacco. But the interesting point is that the better is the quality of cigarette, more is the hazards of the cigarette. Few people may be knowing that there is a filter applied on the cigarette, claiming that this is restoring, or this is restricting the hazardous carbon monoxide or NOx or sulfur dioxide coming from these tobaccos into the mouth or nose of the inhaler. But actually this material is made up of plastic. So this is the problem, that it is not only giving the hazards of the tobacco, but it is also giving the hazards of the plastics. And this becomes one of the major problem of the choking of the toilets and choking of the small pipelines also. So this is just for information. Another point is that, again, I'll answer just now. Which air is most polluted? This is Delhi's ITO, Mathura refineries, Everest, or our kitchen. So answer, you may be knowing that it is due to the, at high temperature, nitrogen oxygen reaction, NOx, is developed. Again, I'll have to say that I'm not environmental scientist, so my job is not to discuss the problems related with this. Actually, whenever we are discussing in green chemistry, we must know, we must stick to the problems and the solution simultaneously. If we are not knowing the solution of the problem, then we are usually not discussing that. So what are the problems on this we will be coming, but solution I'm coming first. Actually, our group was working on the micronization of this particular drug, spironolactone, because we are mainly working on the food and drug research. So this was very interesting that this is taken by or prescribed by the doctors in case of congestive heart failure or cirrhosis of the liver or kidney disorder, that is nephrotic syndromes. But this dose is given approximately in the acute cases 100 milligram per day. So our job was in two different ways. This is the normal synthesis of this drug. So first is to get rid of this so many steps, but at the same time our job was also to decrease the quantity of this because of developing the micronization technique. So we got this Austin project, and on this when we were working, so we could able to develop the micronized formulation, and I'm happy to inform you that from 100 milligram dose to we could able to marginalize up to the 10 milligram. Now we are also trying to decrease this. This is our laboratory, and this is S.K. Verma, Dr. S.K. Verma, Dr. K.K. Verma, Dr. Harish is a medical student, all are the chemistry student, Dr. Umar Rathod. They could able to develop this micronized formulation in our laboratory, and we have supplied thereafter. So what was the problems related with the micronized formulation? Micronized formulation was very effective, and how this came in our mind, this is what I'm going to explain you in next 15 minutes or so. You all are well aware with the needs and hazards of the plastics. I'm not going to discuss this. Hazards you all are knowing. So hazards mainly related with the garbage management, because if you are talking to the social science persons, they will be saying that the garbaging is the major problem. But when you will be discussing with the environmentalists or geologists or botanists, they'll be saying that the biodegradability of this plastic is the major problem. But actually, is this problem from the chemist point of view? So just see the additives, particularly the plasticizers added in the preparation of this kind of plastics. Bisphenol A is one of the major plasticizer which is usually being added in the different kinds of plastics. So this is the method of preparation of bisphenol A. For chemistry students, I would like to make a request that kindly emphasize on this reaction. We'll be discussing this reaction after 1 minute in a different way. So the problem in the plastics is related with the bisphenol A. Bisphenol A, if it's present in the plastic in very little amount, then it is also creating endocrine disruptors, dopamine effect system, thyroid dysfunction, and more interesting is creating the neuroblastoma and DNA methylation. And you must have heard that nowadays BPA-free plastic is also coming. So this BPA is having a big problem. At elevated temperature, it comes out from the plastics and it goes in the liquid present in that plastic bottle. So if you are supplying BPA containing, I mean to say that milk or water to your kids or anyone which is having the BPA containing the plastic, so directly or indirectly we are providing BPA with the nutritive material to these kids and to other person. So I was talking about the BPA free plastic. Now instead of BPA free plastic, they will have to add the plasticizer. So now they are adding the phthalates, vinyl chloride, dioxin, styrene. And interesting is that a good quality storage material, shining storage material, particularly the cups, thermocol shining cups and plastic shining cups, they are claiming that they are not having the BPA and writing it's BPA free, but they are adding the styrene, so which is also the carcinogenic. So meaning is that so far whatever we discussed, that the problem is related with the plasticizers added. But now I'm coming to the other point, where commonly used solvents in the industry and in research lab are creating the major problems. And these commonly known solvents, as described here, are significantly used in the solar industry as well as in the chip industry or in the printing industry and so on. So what we say when we are saying the problems, the problem of the plastic, as far as perspective of social scientists is concerned, it is related with the garbage management. For the environmentalists, it is biodegradability. But for chemistry person, it is related with the hazardous materials like BPA. But when we are talking in terms of the green chemistry point of view, the solvent which I have shown in the upper slide of the preparation of BPA, you must have seen the acetone effect of acetone. So normal extraction requires the solvent, whether it is going to be extracted at elevated temperature using Soxlate or sonication or microwave. All the times solvents will be used. Normally solvents are organic, chlorinated or acetonic. Sometimes people or industries claims that they are using the acetonic solvent, they are not using the alcoholic, they are not using the chlorinated solvent. In this particular slide, this is one of my favorite slides. I would like to explain you how this industrial claims are false, that in industry, if they are using the acetone or ethyl alcohol, or even if in your laboratory you are using the acetone or ethyl alcohol, after some time it goes in the atmosphere. So little amount of this solvent loss is there, and it goes in the atmosphere, and by the process of clouding and draining with the water, some particles of this acetone or ethyl alcohol are also coming in the surface water, and that surface water is coming to the PWD power supply centers, and here the actual process starts. You know that what happens at the PWD water supply tanks or systems, they are passing the chlorine for the purification of the water. Chlorine acts as herbicides or bactericide to clean the water, but at the same time the chlorine is also acting as a reactant with acetone or ethyl alcohol. And if you remember your 12th class chemistry, you must be knowing about the famous haloform reaction. Acetone reacts with chloroform in slightly alkaline atmosphere, first to form the monochloroacetone, dichloroacetone, trichloroacetone, and finally there is chloroform. So what is happening? The industry which were claiming, or our laboratory which were claiming that we are using alcoholic or acetone, we are not using the chlorinated solving, knowingly or unknowingly, we are supplying that traces of chloroform in our domestic water supply systems. And interesting is that the traces of this chloroform, you know the use of chloroform, the traces of chloroform can even not be detected. Analysis or removal is quite far, detection is very difficult. So what we say so far, identification of the problem as far as social scientists is concerned, garbage management, biologists or environmental biologists, biodegradability. For chemists, toxicity is the problem, but for us, green chemists, induced or delayed toxicity that is related with the solvent or any other material, maybe the bisphenol A, or but targetly it is the alcoholic or acetonic solvent. So we must think over such kind of systems where we can design this or decrease this induced or delayed toxicity in a better or sustainable system. For this, we designed one project, and that was related and sanctioned by Bhopal Atomic Research Center. And we started to look on the local or desert plants. We selected approximately 12 desert plants for the purpose, and finally we could able to get very good result from Calotropis procera, Arc or Acra. Interesting is that this is the Pokhran site where the Calotropis procera is a bigger one, but this is the site of the Bay of Bengal, and in front of the Konark temple there is also the presence of the same Calotropis procera. So this is another aspect of biodiversity. However, I'm not working on this, but it's just interesting observation that we could able to select this Calotropis procera, Arc or Acra. So from this, we could able to develop the green extraction technique, and that green extraction technique I'm going to explain you within 3 or 4 minutes because this is the essence of this particular lecture. Our group is working on the nanoscale extraction also. You all are aware with the different types of surfactants. We could able to select here neutral or Triton X type of surfactants. You all are also knowing that oil and water do not mix under ordinary condition, but if you apply rigorous mechanical condition, it forms the emulsion after rigorous mechanical homogenization. But even then, after some time, it separates out. But if you want to add oil in water or water in oil with surfactant, so there is formation of molecular assemblies. So this is either the micelles or the reverse micelles, depending on the site of the hydrophobic head or hydrophilic head. We could able to select a definite type of micelle here. For example, in this study, among selected 30 types of micelles, we could able to get better results from this rod shape micelles, where we are putting this rod shape micelle in the solution, and this is extracting or delignifying the process, and we are getting the fibers from here. This part I'm skipping, but at the same time I would like to tell you that this is the process of micellization which is actually leading for the micronization. From that we could able to design our drug. So this micellization actually not only increasing the solubility and stability of the system, but a marked increase in absorbance intensity of such materials have been observed. So that can be used as biosensors or can also be triggered for the drug delivery points. And we could able to specify that micellar system either for the extraction of flavonoids or isoflavonoids, and we could able to design approximately 30 system from this. So this is what I'm showing you in terms of few photographs in a faster mode, that when we are using the green extraction, we are not only getting the better rate of extraction, but the complete delignification. You can find here, this is the stage 1 when we applied on first day, and this is on the 7th day, there is complete delignification took place. So here I am explaining that how this rod shaped micelle is acting. So you can visualize here that this is the rod shaped micelle is there, and this is the plant material, Calotropis procera, arc or acra, and it is decreasing, it is delignifying and providing us the cellulose. Because for the preparation of the green plastic, we require high tensile strength with the DF or UF type of material. Nowadays, we are also working on the MF type of materials. And when we are adding it, there is increase in the tensile strength of these material. However, so far we could able to get the 28% incorporation in this. So the material which is being shown here is having approximately 28 to 32% that biomaterial, and the rest of the properties are similar. So we can say at this moment we are having the 32% green plastic or 32% biodegradable material. So this is what we can achieve by using the basic science. I have skipped many technical aspects here. If you want to ask any specific query or question related with the preparation or manufacturing, you can ask now, or you can ask me on via mail or WhatsApp. So I am coming to the question which I asked to students initially: how much water required for neutralization of that 1 milliliter of acid being thrown by you in your laboratory? So answer is coming from very simple calculation, considering that we are using the 20 normal laboratory grade acid, and we are not providing any other basic or alkaline material in it. You may say that some alkaline material is also there. So that is right. But alkaline material, if alone is there, then it is not going to neutralize. So that is also increasing the pH of the solution. But the calculation suggests that if we want to take the 1 milliliter of the pure acid and we are not adding any neutralizing agent, then we are destroying this much water table in the system or in the underground system. For that, we thought to involve in our system or in our institution, and we designed the laboratory wastewater neutralization plants for the students and for laboratories. And ultimately, we could able to develop a very effective neutralization plant within very limited sources, and we could able to use the quicklime for the purpose. And then we also prepared one science film on this, and that was awarded Best Jury Award in India International Science Film Festival at Kolkata during that Science Film Festival 2019. And this is the team related with that film, and we also, our student also got the Best Poster Award on this presentation, and that was related with the 3D designing. Why I'm specifying on the 3D designing? Because nowadays we are working on the last 5 years, we are working on the augmented and virtual reality. For that type of model was there, and that was initiated us. And this is the solar 3D designing of the solar panel. This is the 3D system of that laboratory. And you can find this is the in the background, this laboratory, and this is the 3D designing of the internal system of laboratory, and this is the exit of that laboratory wastewater neutralization plant. So by the same way, we using the micellar and micronization technique, we could able to develop the croton extraction from the croton, and that act very nicely, particularly for the preparation of green sanitizers during the COVID period. We prepared lots of means more than 100 liters or so in the first COVID wave, that when there was a need of green sanitizer, and these are our students and laboratory assistants, and we supply to local systems and local authorities, and this is another work. This is what I would like to give within 1 or 2 minutes. This is the Smart Science Laboratory which we have developed in our institution, and this is based on the augmented and virtual reality. We have developed around 15 experiments of chemistry and 6 experiments of physics, in which augmented and virtual reality experiments are used. And this was inaugurated by the Cabinet Minister of Rajasthan government, Dr. B.T. Kallaji, and Shri Bhavar Singh Bhatiji at that time. And the material or the experiments which have been designed by us are available on YouTube. You can also look from here. This is the 3D printing technique. Here again, for the students' point of view, I would like to inform that this material is polylactic acid, PLA, on which we are working, and such kind of systems are very significant for different types of materials, like the lenses or artificial materials. And by using the same way, we are also in the process of developing the green auditing. This is one of the paper, and I think I would summarize from this. This is one of the book published by us, me and Professor R.K. Sharma sir, and this is John C. Warner. These are our collaborator for the micronized technique. This is Dolcus Biotech, and Dr. Nepen is with us in this particular part. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruchi. I have tried to complete within 20-25 minutes. So this is Bikaner Interdisciplinary Research Consortium. We are having a few instruments and few facilities, particularly related with the biological activity, if anyone wants to work on this. And we are also in the process of developing the augmented and virtual reality experiments with green auditing. You can contact on this email ID. And this is last but not least, acknowledgement to my mentors, supervisors, and friends who are providing continuous and consistent support. Most of the work presented in this is done by the Divya Shekhawat, who is in the process of submission of her PhD thesis, and Balvinder Singh, S.K. Verma, and H.S. Bhandari. These are the few research papers. I would like to emphasize these 2 papers which has recently been published. One is in current research in green and sustainable, and other is based on the augmented and virtual reality advances and applications, a review type. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the interesting presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
If there are any query, I would like to, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions, please? No, sir.
Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Ms. Desi M. Galgana, a licensed professional teacher, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English at the University of the Assumption, Philippines, honorary doctorate degree, Senior High School Teacher 3, Quezon City, District 1 Coordinator, School Partnership Focal Person, Brigada Escavela Coordinator, Work Immersion Program Focal Person, International Resource Speaker with specialization in English, Communication, Arts and Skills, teaching English as a second language, Educational Management and Leadership. She is a certified trainer for events management, and she got diploma on professional development and management, and she's consistent awardee as outstanding teacher of the year, and the excellence award as senior high school teacher awarded by Lead Philippines, Asia head of Idiom Foundation. Excellence award. She got the excellence award for education awarded by Sutra Events and AB News India. VIP member of Leadership in Education Academy and Development Philippines. Peace Ambassador Philippines, and awarded by Moyur Pongki Foundation, registered by Social Welfare Ministry, Government of Bangladesh. Professional member and resource speaker of Global Institute of Professionals, IGP Bangladesh. Honorary country head for SK Educare India Education, Ambassador Philippines for International Internship University, and so on. So we welcome you, ma'am. Please, ma'am. I think there is some technical issue. So now I would like to call Dr. Brijesh Pare to start the valedictory ceremony.
Thank you, ma'am. And
just a minute,
I'm audible.
Just a minute, sir. Dr. Pare, Professor and Head, Department of Chemistry, Madhav Science Postgraduate College, President Association of Chemistry Teachers, care of Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Mumbai. A postdoctoral research fellowship. He got postdoctoral research fellowship from National Research Foundation, Pretoria, and worked in the Department of Chemistry, University of Durban, South Africa. And he got more than 70 research publications in national and international reputed journals, and supervised 18 PhD students, and organized more than 150 chemistry popularization workshop across India, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Doha, etc. Worked with Royal Australia Chemical Institute, Australia, and Royal Society of Chemistry, London, and he got many awards and recognition in the field of chemistry. And his areas of interest are green chemistry and sustainable science, then advanced oxidation process, photocatalytic degradation of organic pollutants, and he is engaged in doing extensive work on training programs and for learning and teaching creativity using various models. That is his specialty. And he's also working on novel methods of teaching and learning phenomenon-based learning. So now I welcome you, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be the part of this program. You know, there was some difficulty. I was supposed to join yesterday also, but there were certain difficulties. Anyway, I take this opportunity to congratulate the organizers of the program, the wonderful conference on sustainable development and research, particularly the Career College principal and Dr. Suparna Ghosh and all the colleagues, Dr. Shweta and all the colleagues and the team of Career College. They are very instrumental in organizing various programs, and really I congratulate them for this. What I understand, you know, like because this is this conference has been designed for talking about the sustainable development, and this 21st century, we are already into 20 years gone, and now everybody is talking about sustainable development. And as we are all aware, that the United Nations has declared 17 sustainable development goals, and that is to be achieved by 2030. And so many articles, in the research papers I have gone through, people think that these 17 sustainable goals may be achievable, but even if it is definitely, it's very difficult. But at the same time, the concerted efforts by the global humanity, I mean, all the countries, maybe north and south or rich and poor, they have to work together to make it happen, just to achieve the sustainable goals, and how we can make this planet sustainable. We all aware, like there is a global change, and it's a huge challenge to the humanity. We are aware of the world population, which is almost 7 billion by now and likely to be 10 billion, by 2050. And a lot of, the global energy requirements, they are also, increasing. So really, the years to come, definitely, we are facing, a lot of environmental problems, like there is the air pollution, then water pollution, that there are waste problems are there, so everywhere, things are increasing. The ecological problems, the caused by the human economic activities are really worsening and taking the global dimension, as we are aware of the climate change, ozone layer depletion, and the loss of the forest cover. These are some of the examples, which are really the threat to the humanity. And at the same time, not only the ecological thing, but the social conditions, they are continue to worsen in many developing countries. It is estimated that more than 1 billion people, they live in the poverty without the sufficient food, adequate educational opportunities, or even any possibility of political participation. And although financial and the economical markets are becoming more and more interconnected, we always we say, it's a global village. Our efforts, to enshrine this environmental protection and development as the common task and responsibility of all the countries has to go ahead. The key aim, for the 21st century sustainable development, to reconcile the environmental protection and development. That means nothing more than using resources no faster than they can regenerate themselves, and releasing pollutants to no greater extent than natural resources can assimilate them. I mean, this balance has to be maintained. Whatever activities we are doing, somehow it has to be balanced by the nature. If we are to move towards sustainable development, the industrialized countries will have to accept special responsibility, not only because of the past ecological scenes, but also because their present technological know-how and financial resources. I mean, since so far, they have utilized the nature, the natural resources to greater extent, but at the same time, at this stage, they have a better technological know-how. So the onus more is on them, to save the world. One must keep in mind that the sustainable production and consumption involve not only the technical process, but also the cultural pattern of the individual behavior and values. So sustainable development is not only the ecological or environmental aspect, but there are societal and there are economic aspects also there. So I think I should not take much time on that. Once again, I congratulate the organizers of this event, and thank you very much for inviting me on behalf of the Association of Chemistry Teachers, Homi Bhabha Center, Science Education, Mumbai. And on my personal behalf, I once again congratulate the organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Some participants were absent in the technical session 2. So if anybody wants to present their paper, then you are welcome. Okay. So we are moving to the next well, report presentation in the valedictory ceremony. For that, I invite Dr. Shweta Sharma.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita ma'am. A very hearty good afternoon to one and all present over here for the concluding ceremony of the conference. I am feeling so privileged that I got an opportunity to conclude the 2 days international conference titled on advanced research strategies for sustainable development, jointly organized by Career College Bhopal, Association of Chemistry Teachers ACT, and Research Foundation of India RFI-CARE. First of all, I would like to say about the host, means Department of Chemistry, Career College Bhopal. Our, our department was established in 1998 and is recognized as research center by BU Bhopal since 2015. We offer BSc and MSc chemistry courses. Next, coming to the team, the team consists of 5 members: Dr. Suparna Ghosh, Dean Life Sciences and HOD Chemistry, Dr. Anika K, Dr. Ruchi Dubey Sharma, and Dr. Anita Singh, and last myself, Dr. Shweta Sharma. All are PhDs and having more than 15 years experience. All of them have good publication record in very good journals with good impact factor. Next slide. The quality of our life is determined by the quality of our thinking. The quality of our thinking is determined by the quality of our questions. And questions are the engine and the driving force behind innovations. We are intellectually able to find our way about, and this leads us to the topic of our conference: Advanced Research Strategies for Sustainable Development. On first day, means 3rd June 2022, the guest of honor was Mr. Rituraj Fukan in the inaugural ceremony, founder Indigenous Peoples Climate Justice Forum and Ambassador European Climate Pact. Dr. Chin Chang Tan from Thailand, Dr. Barton from Australia, and Dr. Mutmanian from Indonesia, and Dr. Meera Asmi from Kerala, and Dr. Pranjal Chandra delivered their talk. The talk was very mesmerized with their deliberation. The session was full of knowledge and was very enlightening. In the paper presentation session, more than 15 research papers were presented and nearly 200 participants were present in the first day of the conference. On the second day of the conference, 4th June 2022, the day was started with paper presentation. Again, with more than 25 paper presentations have been delivered. After that, Dr. Luis Michael Cardoso from Portugal and Dr. Narendra Bhojak from Bikaner, Rajasthan, has gave insights into the sustainable development research strategies. The session was very knowledgeable and enriched with new learnings. And at last, I would like to thank Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman RFI, Dr. Ashok Gupta, CMD, RFI, Mr. Brijesh Pare, Sir, Professor Madhav Science College, and President Association of Chemistry Teachers, our Vice Chairman, Sir, Mr. Manish Rajoria, Sir, Vice Chairman, Sir, Dr. Charanjit Kaur, Principal, Career College Bhopal, and Director, Professor Pradeep Jain, Sir. Without their guidance and support, this conference would not be possible. At last, I would like to thank all the participants who have presented for 2 days international conference. Thank you all.
Now, I humbly request each and everybody to please switch on the video for a group photograph. I humbly request all the participants to please switch on the video for a group photograph. Dr. Cardoso, can we have you on video? Thank you very much for making this conference a success.